Right, Family, bring warm greetings to Una from the TNN TV Media Empire. Pardon me. Today, the 22nd of September 2022. Me where they talk to Una, I mean Prince Emil Koma. And I want to say thank you very much to the few people that are watching because as a matter of fact, the program is scheduled for take place about 34 minutes ago. Let me call it 30 minutes ago. And I can always say this in social media because there are hundreds and hundreds of us. You get punished when you put your program out there, depending on what the program is. If it's a high value program or whichever way the program is, and then you put a time there, and then keep up with that time. Of course, people they get different areas there where they get for go. But I thank you for the few people that are watching. Some of them frenemies, no doubt, and some of them real people we mean real good. As soon as go see or know, or if you don't know, the flyer was out. We've been supposed to host a brother and a friend on the platform today, and it's kind of strange. I'm not going to pass judgment, but it's kind of strange that 30 minutes on. In fact, I make we delay the show. We're not able to get the brother on the platform, and we're not able to get a word through for say, oh, because of this and this and that. That's why I won't be able to appear, or I might be late. Nothing of that kind, as soon as I go understand. But here we are in the 21st century, in the diaspora. So these are some of the things I will talk about in a few minutes where I want to hold the show for. Because after all, I've been deciding not to go ahead with the show, but it will have looked bad, especially when you put a flyer out. Although it's simple for you put a word out there and say, listen, because of extenuating circumstances, which can happen, we could not go on with the program. But yes, this is what it is. But having said this, ladies and gentlemen, there is no amount of intimidation. There's no amount of threat. There's no amount of verbosity in an expletive fashion that is going to distract us from our central focus. Nothing of that kind at all. And nothing of this kind, is going to derail us from we real focus. The struggle, here for total emancipation of then yoke them of terroristic actions, of threats, and otherwise, we will, speak against those kind of things in the 21st century Sierra Leonean kind of politics. And like I say, as long as God continue to give us breath, we will try to shape the political landscape, the political, social, and economic landscape of the country. The reason why we do this is because in the end, you might have very powerful people when you try to shape that. And normally, we get the benefit of hindsight to we disadvantage, if you will like, because again, that's not in the informed way as to the suggestions or the analysis what we make as at now, which I will speak on shortly because I want to talk about something about opinion and analysis where we can offer informed ones. Okay, so again, Fambolem, just for informuna, we've been supposed to get a guest, and of course, we're not going to see the flyers. Those of you that where they follow we, and it happened not for be as at this time. So it clear to me that a 1 hour program, 1 hour 30 minutes program, no word from the guest means that the guest will not be appearing at all. And I hope and pray that the guest is well. There's nothing like an emergency sickness, somebody die, or what have you. Of course, we pray against those things because these are the kind of circumstances, emergency or extenuating, as they will say in the law, for you understand that. But having said this, we get few words for say na the platform regarding we current political, social, and economic situation we find ourselves in the country. And ladies and gentlemen, I want for let una keep tuned, and if possible, we una able for shape, dear una really una shape. We might have a supplement for this particular program. Probably we'll call on Channel Bar African Express. I go see whether during this break I able for call him and see whether we will bring come on the show because there's so much for him to say. He's been saying a lot, and there's so much more for him to say. The platform cannot be silenced. I mean, we get too many powerful people and too many powerful voices, and we are on message. We are on message. We're not going to be derailed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the TNN TV Media Empire. I am Prince Emil Kroma, rejuvenated, buoyed as ever as I can be. And don't touch that dial because we are coming back heavy. So yes, Fabula and Cabinet say, this not the TNN TV media empire. This not the place where they talk news, where actually they make the news. I repeat, this is the place where we talk news that makes the news. If we not get one set of guests, obviously we are never short of guests. If we get informed, and remember, say, if this is intentional, it's not on us, it's on you, it's on them. Can we just make that, absolutely clear? Because this does not stop the platform from going on live, from people listening as they watch. As he said, the numbers they develop, we have no intention for extend this show. And whilst we're there on this, let me just break this news that the TNN TV media empire, as we call an empire, it expand. So pretty soon, and this is confirmed, pretty soon, the dates are yet to be announced, we will be having a legal team na the host, or a legal lawyer na the host. We're going to offer legal advice pro bono. We got to understand, say, we community is plagued with all kind of disadvantages, whether a housing problem, whether an immigration problem, whether a school exclusion problem, and many other circumstances, legally speaking. With people them, they can face the encounter, then they not know how to write the letter because the letter has to be legally written. If your Pekin is expelled from school, if na housing problem now you get, if na immigration problem now you get. This is where it becomes a profession. Although social media don't make, like say, we are all equally equal, an animal farm sort of concept. But when you conceptualize them, say, obviously there is a difference. It's like people who speak in a different fashion. You actually notice the limitation because of the direction where they go. And you can differentiate between illiteracy, you can differentiate between illiteracy and literacy as a consequence of them virtue and they. So we do understand that, and we know say, despite the difficulties in our country, people do understand that. But what I'm trying to say is we are going to be having a legal opinion na the host in form of a lawyer. We're going to offer legal advice, just general legal advice, especially in areas where our community is found wanting, i.e., housing problems, social problems, school exclusions, immigration problems, and etc. Just for help, for tell you, USA and USA you for look, reference something. Say, I dey refer you to that particular place, they go look at the UK government website, section this, page this, you go able for see certain things where you can use, or if I do have time, maybe I can help you for probably write an appeal, or for write a proposal, or for write something in the case of school exclusion and ask why your picking being excluded. In the case of housing, maybe they go through housing problem, maybe na mold they grow na you host, or maybe you get problem with your landlord. How do you go about it? These are all very important issues in our community, and I'm speaking directly to those of us who are in the diaspora. So in this regard, ladies and gentlemen, we will be having, and I'm proud to reveal that we have secured the services of one of the young lawyers, them we go there on the platform for giving advice in the now this particular platform. And the program will be offered in different ways. We will work on the proposal as to how the program will be delivered, when, how, where, and the timing. Very, very important. So we are working on that. But pretty soon, I can assure Una say that that program, in principle, we've got the green light from the young lawyer, and that lawyer will be in the house pretty soon. That's good news. I suppose, say, every good intention, Sierra Leonean, this is something that they will definitely appreciate. And this is the TNN, where innovation is what we brief, we think on a daily basis, how for evolve, not to for indulge into invectives, expletives, of a kind that doesn't really help. But because we do believe, say, this kind of thing they help, to some people, we have compartmentalized them kind of thing and they or internalize them that even in this falsity, we tend to believe that it does have, some positive effect. No, it can only have one effect, and that effect is negative effect. And we know, say, is heavily frowned upon here. And when circumstances arise for let you take legal action, of course you can. Of course you can, because illegality is illegality, legality is legality. But I'm happy to pronounce, so with many followers that are growing by the day, like I check, I can't remember actually again, but I know say we dey get between 10 to 76, 80 people them when they sign up to the then and now media empire on a weekly basis, not on a daily basis. We wish we can get more of that. But if you get 10 to 76, 80 people the way they sign up to the platform on a daily basis, and we know they say everybody is friendly to the platform, and we know they look for only people who are friendly to the platform, because what we interested in is having a discussion, is having a dialogue around potential topics, subject matter them, which are of consequence to we nation. This is what we want to talk about. So in that regard, we can have different principles, we can have different take, we can have different thought processes. Okay, but I'm sure, and this is not my first time saying it, that our intention is to ensure that the greater good of country, which is more material, which is the crux of the matter, emerge at the end, rather than we little tittle tattle, as the Englishman call them, this little conversation, this little beef, which is actually not necessary. So that's one announcement. There's a second announcement, ladies and gentlemen, and the second announcement is we've also secured in principle the services of a health advisor on the program. A health advisor. We get a nurse who will be on the program and just talk about general health. General health is something where we say we can Google. For example, I get me in the art on the right hand side. I can Google them and look, why am I having this headache na the right side of my head, or the left side of my head, or the middle part of my head, or the back of my head? Google will manage to tell you this all. But now people then compile all of that and upload and download and upload and Google, so we can be able to have a look at them kind of thing in there. So we do have an health expert, somebody where they work for the NHS, that are the National Health Services, that are the National Health Services of the United Kingdom, go come to the platform and begin for advise people them about national health in a general fashion. Me heart they beat too much. Why? Me foot they feel some thumping. Why? Me hand swollen. Potentially why? So that general health, man business, woman business, as to some little discrete things then, because sometimes cultural background gets something for do with anything there. And as people then we don't come out and understand the restriction where cultural background can give, as opposed to the new horizon. These are people who are willing to go forward, understanding the new dimension, the new thought process, the new thinking. What they are really after now how for engage people in the community, for take them from one place to the other, such as one of our sister them Syrian KAMARA, baby KAMARA, who is doing extremely well in an age old, when I say age old, I'm talking about centuries old tradition, which is that of female genital mutilation, in short known as FGM. Yeah. So that's exactly what they talk about. We go get this in-house health person. We're going to talk about general health. That's announcement number 2. Before I talk about announcement number 3, we got 3 major announcements for breaking the platform today. And before the third announcement, there is always this inner idea on how to transcend, because this is quite critical in mortal man, especially thinking man. Mortal man, especially the normal ones, are known to be thinking man. Homo sapien, which we are, it relates to thinking man. In fact, that's what it means. Okay. So for transcend this platform into another level, what we decided on doing is for expand in different various fields of discipline, and not in a selfish way, but in a very good way. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been promising I say I go talk to Chernobyl. Chernobyl, different from the opposition leader, and they talk about the phenomenal Chernobyl, the man who has made history, the man who in legacy is already sealed and signed in gold, is etched in the memory of everyday Sierra Leonean, and this cannot be taken away from him. Sorry for the digression, but I've been promising most likely we will have him in the show for fitting. So you see, the show is never short of professional people, people that are germane or bring value to the conversation that we are having, because we want to see a 21st century reflection of a Sierra Leone way we grand Pekin and go be proud of, not only one we inherit, but waiting we left which we grand Pekin them. So, like I said, I've been saying we will get Chernobyl and at the bring and come on soon. So it will come opine, reflect. It happened, be it the ECL corruption that he's been speaking up so loudly about, much more than even the opposition leader or the opposition leader in a parliament, whose duty it is for capitalize on the errors of a government and hold them accountable. Yet they are taking the cue from outsiders within the political realm, social bloggers. That's where they're taking the tune from. Okay, so it take 5 days, 10 days. Imagine in a project which is historical, monumental proportion, the voter registration. And they think that they can fool everybody. They don't know say Sierra Leoneans are wising up. That Sierra Leoneans, that urge for change. And then they talk about a politically induced demonstration. That's not what I'm talking about. A politically induced demonstration where the desired effect now you want to see, because it's directed, it's choreographed by the people whom you have bestowed the authority on. No, I'm talking about people and we speak in behalf of the people on generic issue them, on issue them which are based on everyday things that we with people and they go through. And in that regard, you can only ascribe them kind things and they to Cherno Alpha Emba, the editor general of the Africanist press. And of course, he is not new to the scene. I've had people send me messages. We're waiting at Chernobyl motive. Anyway, the show is not about Chernobyl. I will go on with what they say, but I've been promising to say, in terms of legitimacy, in terms of content creation, content production, now this platform, we are never short of people who then get that gravitas for tell Sierra Leonean people without fear or favor what exactly it is. And ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you say that conversation day is on and it's making waves. People, Sierra Leonean people, they not embrace that notion there for change. That notion there for change, which they not embrace, did not come as a consequence of the political establishment, because the political establishment, and you will have to agree with me on this, it not come by the one that changed it. Because no, they not monopolize them. It don't become binary either or. So it's either APC, SLPP, SLPP, APC. Let me see who disagree with me on that. And this is the thing. And I will speak shortly on them basis then day. So what I want to say again is that some things that we I say on this platform for many years now that I've been speaking, I say with authority. I say with authority. There are other things that I say them with less authority, but many other things what I say them with authority. Now, why? People definitely will ask why. And the reason is here is not because I believe in them just in the ordinary. Like how some people can be arrogant, ignorant, and you don't want to learn, you don't want to do research, you want to be lazy. Even when they give you reference, they go look. Not because of that, but because we dig deep, and not because we sort of attach to entities or political leadership in forms of individuals as, no ideology, no principle, no philosophy. Oh, this person I'm a tribesman, so therefore I go support this person. Oh, this person I'm a regional person, so I go support him. Sierra Leoneans, do you little wonder why the country is as it is today? Do you really wonder why? These are exactly some of the example. Okay? So sometimes when I opine on issues and when I say I talk strongly on them things that they and I talk about them with authority, now because there are many datas them where they come through and then datas then they are on process. So you therefore ask yourself, how do you do data analysis? How do you unprocess, how do you process unprocessed data? Which is what people like us do. Scotch through social media, look at waiting relevant, waiting not relevant. We aggregate them, we extrapolate. There are so many things for maybe I might ask Chen about when he appear on how he goes about this because he don't make name as an investigative journalist and he is spot on. Like him, loathe him, hate him, he is spot on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll bring him shortly. And I'm really immensely proud for associating this platform with a guy who, not to them colony of gangsters, and I'm using his quotations, not to them henchmen them at the height of our politics, not to them one day we indulge themselves in skullduggery, backstabbing, brute. Remember that? Those of una we do Latin and Julius Caesar in school, because somebody tell me the other day, say, the leader of the opposition at parliament is a honest guy. Well, he could be a honest guy, suffice me to say, but you tell me, Sierra Leoneans then generally speaking, which politician at Sierra Leone were really, really honest? And remember, say, this is not personal. It's not really personal. And this is not the thing they want to try for say. So you get for unprocess that data. And in some cases, them of some individuals, then we also need for no say that the data where they come towards us, and I've had conversations with Cheng Noban at the background, and he's helped me a lot on this, I must say. Plenty of data they come through the background, and you get for sifter through then data, then they for take the chaff from the real thing. It's all like when you try for refined gold, and I think this is a good analogy because gold gets some boku chaff way there around them, but it get for go through a process, and that process the way you don't done them, now they tell you get proper refined gold. So maybe that analogy they suit this thing where they say, how do you get a real gold where they left after you don't process them? This now in people and get for go through where some people and not even fit the bill. They don't go through all of this. They don't even understand a quarter of this. But yet they want to be strong on the media. And but people do pick these things up. Because it doesn't work that way. It's hard work. It's referencing. It's interrogation. It's investigation. It's researching. It's not being lazy. Just take somebody in word for it. Because after all, if you know the amount of material where they come with, and we know say people are bent on deceiving us, people are bent on setting traps for us. These are things that we do understand, okay? And we are quite prepared for all of these scenarios. The fight for justice in Sierra Leone goes on. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm into that fight. I come from an old school of Sierra Leoneans, and sometimes I do get emotion waking and boil in me as a consequence of the time when me grow up in a country where I know say it not been too bad per se. The idea is if I turn my faucet, water will run out of that faucet day. Public pumps were there 24/7. You go hang your mouth there, you drink. I've said this many a times. Now the Sierra Leone Usa Akomot. I rode trains, even though most of una don't call me for some of una, not most of una, of course. This is not just one element of people that we want to discredit me when are the kind of thing where they involve me. I rode trains many times, hundreds of times, because I was born in a place where the train station, the final stop for the train station, was just a stone throw away. A stone throw away. And that's Dovecot, number 32A, Guard Street. Okay? So all the time, weekends, I'm gone upline. So I come from a chieftaincy background, the Cockers, and not being mouthy about this. That's just my background. And I think I've said this, no need for that waste time on this. Because it's sort of useless, because people are trying to discredit you they will go down into some pit of I find a difficulty, here for kind of describe them. But having said this, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time for I introduce the great Chernobyl. I need for introduce the great Chernobyl. Khalid, I can't have you now. Ladies and gentlemen, wanna hold on with me, please. K Square, I don't go too far and I get a guest now. Let's just mute this thing quickly. I get yes, I get a guest. Now this have been the say. So the guest now called me for tonight. And we left Amune, they make judgment, extenuating circumstances. Kinde is a brother and a friend, but that's fine, absolutely fine. However, we've got the phenomenal Cherno Alpha Ember of the Africanist press. We don't do phenomenal work. You see, you walk now, they follow you. People like can create, a satire, a I'm getting short of the kind of literary words they want for use, but the kind of falsity will go be my first question where Chernobyl come, so you go deal with that and we'll just flow along. Ladies and gentlemen, continue for share. Day on your standby as we welcome Chernobyl and they talk about the Africanist press editor on the show tonight. Don't touch that dial. This is the TNN TV Media Empire, where we make news that makes the news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we say something at this empire, we mean what we say and we do what we say. I mean, love him, loathe him, hate him, whichever way, he's made his mark, and this is the difference. And when we say this, not so because we are caving into an individual, because we really don't do that. We are not a Kim Jong Un, here, North Korea. No, we are for we are for real. Because why? We can trace the work of people. And if we want to give them the merit, we can give them the merit based on them work. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I can see on our screen right now, we did say that we will bring in the phenomenal Chernobyl into the program for feeling. And what better time to have Chernobyl on the program as at now? Chernobyl, before you even say hello to Fambulem, I want to ask you one straight kind of question, and I believe say we are all going through this in one form or the other. In other words, now propaganda now I want to talk about. I don't look up your profile many a times, and I've listened to you, I've spoken to you, and this is something where you understand very well as a Pan-Africanist and other views them where you hold. So propaganda is something in the current trend of things, Cherno, that has been internalized. And it has been internalized so much so, brother, that the one themselves when they talk, even though not propaganda, they have come to believe it. You can greet Fambulem and your thoughts on this, and then we can move on what with the program. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for joining.
yeah, thank you very much. We are so proud to be part of the Then and Now platform. It's a wonderful, great sacrifice. We make up say why we always go appreciate the opportunity for the as we dey talk right now across Sierra Leone, no radio station, no television station, no the interview we Sierra Leoneans here interview me particularly and other Sierra Leoneans we hold this not because many of the people that run the radio stations and they or TV stations are not sabi we. Some of them are people maybe they call we mentors in the past. And some of them again they call we friends and colleagues. But That's the nature of state capture. State capture, a phenomenon where the alliance of political elites at the country decide for protect their own interests, protect the status quo, decide for monopolize every facet of the media and every platform of expression. So there's an ongoing war against free speech, ongoing war against the circulation of real information, where actually they expose the system of affairs in the country. So that this make then and now see that there's an effort for silence a group of Sierra Leoneans who are determined to expose the corruption, bad governance. I mean, corruption in this case, we all know now. We don't talk about financial corruption and political corruption and how the two are twins and how they complement each other. And not only that, but the complicity of the opposition, largely in parliament, against the war for the fight for democracy, the fight for accountability, and the fight for the protection of the freedoms and rights, constitutional rights of Sierra Leoneans. So we all familiar now, so we all team up on this question as Sierra Leoneans. We don't arrive at a point where people are losing faith, and for good reason, losing faith in their elected representatives, and not because it's something that they wanted to do, because these leaders have completely and openly failed to provide the required leadership at a time when people need them most. And I talk about parliamentarians, members of parliament, especially so in the opposition, across parties in the opposition. They not only try for help the regime for deny people their constitutional right for participating in the democratic process, but over time, in the last 4 years and don't pass, laws and agreements in parliament will not help for enhanced corruption, enhanced dictatorship, and all of that. And this will not happen quietly until we begin engage parliament and look at the workings of parliament. And just like how they say the judiciary are the problem of Sierra Leone, the police are the problem of Sierra Leone, one thing we have always ignored is how parliament and parliamentarians have served as the real cancer to democratization of Salon. And part of the problem, because with parliament, they right on top tower, he did Alex in a secret society bush. I mean, on they nobody look at them. Yeah. Because they function as equivalent of the Wonde or the Poro bush in the politics of Sierra Leone. So we're not being the look in the inside it. We just say, the parliament and the parliament building, and they're up the hill. But when we shine the floodlight on parliament, what we see is the decadence, the moral and political decadence of Sierra Leonean society. And it's high time we move from the law court, from the police department, and begin look at parliament. Because we talk about corruption as alone, we always talk about ministers, MDAs, heads of MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. We don't look at them with members of parliament, parliamentary leaders, and how parliament, as for use the popular phrase from we calling them the aid and promote corruption, but may not even use say promote, how they are embedded, how they are practically involved, deliberately and willfully involved in the corruption where they take place in the country, both in terms of making legislation, for make law where they enhance dictatorship, and for pass agreement that will cost the people of Sierra Leone huge capital losses, huge loss on investment, huge loss on money. Because if we talk about now the bank governor, for example, you talk about the bank governor, take the case of the bank, the Central Bank of Sierra Leone, and the mismanagement of monetary policy, or the bad monetary policy where the bank done already implemented in the last 4 years, especially so with the question of currency management, the regulation of the capital market. That's Sierra Leone. The failure of the central bank in banking regulation, banking and the financial regulation is the result of parliamentary failure, because now parliament and then passed the law for the redenomination, that then passed the law that then give the central bank the legislative ammunition for implement new monetary policy, new fiscal policy, and not only that, a policy for regulate the capital market in a way that we don't see a currency crash necessarily that is beyond control. And the hypocrisy of the parliamentarians is to begin to talk about, say they want to invite the governor to talk about that. How about when people bring these parliamentarians to the market square and begin ask them, would I not been see the problem? Would I not been see the massive cash withdrawals, how mad you and where they loot the national treasury? Would I not see the massive per diem when they load a plane and they can go with country money? Massive capital flight where they take place, the massive outflows of raw foreign currency out of the country, where Madabia and Fatima be able to travel alone. Each of them, like a competition. Like we begin the thief cookie jar. On man they take pounds with one hand, take dollar with the other hand, take euro. That's no money to go. Parliament sit down, they know they talk about that. And they don't give the bank governor the ammunition for implement monetary policy to the point that now we get this crisis in the economy. Crisis in the economy. I think it was Mr. Warise a couple of days ago on his show or one of his audios. They talk about how the political motive that led to the new currency law. Who say the politicians in parliament, we don't gang up with the regime. They think, say, if they introduce a new currency regulation or a new currency policy, then they try for make sure, say, the politician, the way they think, say, in the opposition get money and dig and bear inside the host, the money all go buff before election time. And here we are. You know they run country with bad hearts. You know they run country with vengeance. That is not how you. That's not what democracy. Democracy is about. It's about progress, about consensus. It's negotiation. It's never about violence. It's never about warfare. You know. So we want for thank you, Prince Kroma, Mr. Prince Kroma. We want for thank you. We salute you for your courageous effort, for the sacrifice, the determination, for hold a conversation like this, for bring we on this platform in the midst of the war against free speech, against then and now, against African Express. There's each and every Sierra Leonean who is determined. Say this corruption, this bad governance, this what's it called Dabaru politics where they take place at the country. We're not gonna keep quiet. We'll continue to speak about them. So in fact, I appreciate the this kind of a spontaneous casual show. I was in the middle today. I was quite looking at. I just look at the massive financial operation. If, every time I look at the financial records of Sierra Leone, I begin to wonder, which kind of madness they go on the saloon. It's like the level of corruption is unprecedented. But if you are in a place, like I miss the vantage point from where I sit at, like there on top, this whole, you get this skyscraper view of a cinematic operation where they happen below. They look at it, see, hey, see. So that is the situation where I am. Thank God. I think I will say that.
Of course, let me just break the news again. I mean, what exciting times!
Let us stop here because I just roll over the
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And me as the moderator this evening, what exciting times to be doing media. I mean, we bargain for one, we get two. Can you imagine? I mean, the enemies, here must be reeling, here must be trying to root the hair come on at the head. And I must say this, and I mean every expression what I say, because this is real. This is not, me, just me feeling. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are not aware, we be supposed to get a program tonight with a guest, but unfortunately the guest not be available. And what we got, I contact my good friend and brother, Mr. Cherno Alpha Emba, who has done phenomenal work in the country and in place in our history is cemented forever and ever. And ladies and gentlemen, by the way, we don't need to forget over this. You cannot take this away from this guy. You either, I don't even know how to put it, but you cannot take it away. It's done, it's sealed. But anyway, we managed for We and Canada platform tonight for filling that gap there. And I doff my hat off to the brother because of, accepting at short notice for Canada platform. And then guess what? Another vocal, vociferous, Sierra Leonean, a patriot, as far as I'm concerned. None other but Mr. Alhaji Mohammed Warise. I just contacted him just now in 5-10 minutes. He said, oh, come on, man. If it's in duty, in line with duty for Sierra Leone, of course, I'm available at any time. And these are the kind of things that we talk about. Mr. Mohammed, welcome to the program. Forgive me excitement. I'm really excited.
It's okay.
A little bit up. Can go a little bit up.
Hello?
Yes, a little bit up. Yeah, it's all
Yes.
right there. It's all right. It's all right.
Usai been there, not too waiting, so I just put her up here.
No problem.
Hello,
As long as, even if you face not be the show, we hear your voice, because your voice don't become synonymous somehow with them powerful audio the way they pull, and then you put the episode them on the. What have you got for us, Mohammed? I've been to talk about, my first question to Cherno was how, in terms of propaganda, remember that the fight is on, and Cherno addressed that just where I posed the question to Ram. The propaganda, some people are not internalized, and so much so that even though not propaganda, they've come to believe in it. And I wonder what you take and much more.
Where you say propaganda from Usai? Because I've been a part of the discussion.
Sorry. Yeah, propaganda in the sense that me and you know the propaganda. We are righteous, if I can use that word there, because this is on another realm. But because we believe in the cause, and not only because we believe in them, there's a lot of Sierra Leoneans that are becoming to believe in this cause. And you they see from the comments them on your show, and then personally the message is the way that they send. And only the political class now can induce things them that are choreographed. And once they choreograph, then there is no relevance to it, because now they make them up. It's all lies. It's all propaganda. Now I call propaganda. The propaganda now for try for defeat. Waiting you they say, waiting Chernobyl they say, and waiting you they say, waiting Chernobyl they say. You guys understand that establishment day very well. You've worked with those guys that constitute the power then and now. And una they waiting and they say, and it just does not sum up. Now I call propaganda.
Yes. Thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me clearly. Now you get me clearly?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, I didn't say Mika because I left office. I run because we asked me so. I said, oh, well, this I go for this office. I could make like say, you know, I had to go do something quick, you know. So I jumped, I left the office. I said, okay, I come out, you know, sit down at the motor car so that I go to talk to her. You know, I done back, you know, I go back. First of all, propaganda, it means lie. When you say propaganda, simply it means I can't lie to people them. But waiting chair about engage in, waiting the then and now, waiting engage in, waiting when I engage in, not truth, not a propaganda. That I make you find out say people who want for listen to Chernobyl anytime we come on. That I make you find out say the platform anytime we go and launch them. People want for listen to waiting then and now get, because people know the truth. Now Sierra Leone, people they think say people were not educated, don't know what they happen. But I think say that they miss the whole point. A lot of Sierra Leoneans don't come for know the truth. Even those that are part of the conspiracy with the government, even those that are part of the rogue system, then don't know the truth. And I think say from the look of things, I see some man, you know, I don't know if you can call them jump boats. They want for jump the boats. They want for left the boat. They want for pull hand on the whole conspiracy. But I think so what I tell Cherno this morning are that we work for continue for engage the people of Sierra Leone without malice. We continue for engage the people of Sierra Leone with the evidence them where it provide. We then strong evidence them where it provide. We for continue for talk the thing them where nobody not going for deny, because now that night happen at the ground. Where children they pull, what in the pool, what children they release in reports. Nobody never for deny. Pass it tell people they say, no, not listen to them. Or not call them for interview. Because in a civilized society, outside truth day, where they make an allegation against you, what do they do? They use democratic means. They use democratic process. They use media for come and clean your name. You don't tell people and say, oh, we're not worry about that. We're not discard this. Take, for example, the ECSL, where Chernobyl of the Africanist press make the allegation of the $10 million. What in and do? Then just go do few lines of writings. Then go to 98.1 who side they know say they're not going for ask them serious question, then go make according to them clarifications. But he left so many questions where the ordinary man, the ordinary woman at saloon understand very well. Say, but that man where they talk about this $10 million, that man will raise an accusation there. He's showing evidence, he's showing documents, he's showing a bidding process. But when I can't talk to we not even call the company the name when I say when I give contract. We not even call the company the name. So that is how scared, that is how truth they always triumph over falsehood. So for me, I think say this fete now one will not go done until after 2023. Now one will for embark on, now one will for make sure say we continue for ensure say we bring the people them for know the truth. And that make on Sunday, 1 o'clock that we on time in America, 6 o'clock now the time in Sierra Leone, my own program they come on. We say going to talk about the president in frivolous spending. Frivolous spending. I don't know they talk about the bank governor. Now they want to blame the bank governor. Rogue politicians within a parliament, including the opposition, they want to blame the bank governor. Now the bank governor has spent over 2 million in less than 6 months. Now the bank governor has spent that money. So why you hold the bank governor responsible for the economy? Now the president, what we all see, they spend the money frivolously. Now you for call, now you for ask, now in the parliamentarian for ask. Say, Mr. President, what's in the happen with the economy? Because the bank governor, he not get power. As he talk Jesus, so the president is sack him. Instead they like how me and you do no money, like drag man. And because they don't get go so bad, hold on for this time. No, because integrity no day. Because in things say when he left that office there, he not going to survive anymore. Look at what's in the happen with inflation. My friend called me this morning. My friend a trader. We been selling our Abacha street. Now they don't pull them there. He said now they cannot go to Guinea for go buy. I said, what thing do you say? Because when you go Guinea for go buy, by the time they come back to Sierra Leone, you're not sure how it can meet the market. So the dollar they increase in value against the leons every minute. Every minute. A report just come out where say from January this year to now, the Leone store lost in value to the dollar by 31%. That now what economists can call runaway inflation. The inflation not get stability. You not get nobody not get for benchmark them. Say okay, now yeah, we think say give us stop. The inflation just go by itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the voice of Mohamed Warise. Of course, it was an impromptu connection. So we lost time, but I believe he will come back again. Cheno, I mean, there is so much for talk about, and you are a man never short of words, never short of programs. Okay, I think Warise is back. We will give Warise a chance for let he continue with him. We will come back to Warise for let he continue because there is so much here for offer tonight on this short program. Cheno, yeah. I want to ask you one straightforward question in terms of the ongoing process, voter registration, the aggregation of numbers or re-aggregation. We see new terminologies when they come up. Then they talk about Freetown, Western Urban. But you know, man, we can also crunch the figures. Apart from investigative journalism, you can equally crunch figures and try for figure out exactly what's going on. You want to tell Fambulem what you take so far, what you the and what you they work on in terms of how the voter registration they go, devoid of the corruption, $10 million, but the counting of the votes itself, the numbers, then where they give you.
Yeah, in the first place, before we come to the numbers, we therefore underline the fact say the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone decide for organize the election or the voter registration process in violation of the Constitution, in violation of the secondary law, we give them we condition their own operation. In the first place, the Constitution and create the Electoral Commission. The Constitution also give the Commission the right and the responsibility for register each and every qualified Sierra Leonean for vote. And the Constitution also provide the rules of qualification. If you don't reach 18 years of age, you have sound mind, and you will prove his citizenship, and the proof of citizenship either by birth certificate or any other form of identification.
So Chelno, whoa, hold on, brother. I mean, now powerful talk now you talk so back again. But remember, say you speak to the layman, even though it sounds like layman explanation now you dey give. Will you break that down, here to the real limit in which everybody else go understand, say, these are your rights? Because I can assure you, say, people and they listen to you where you dey talk, and we go cut the specific part there for the purpose of the people and for understand who side the right lies. Once more, brother, sorry for your budgeting.
Like I talk, the Electoral Commission now the result of the creation of the Constitution. Now the Constitution, where now the law will govern the country, now in establish the Electoral Commission. And we establish and again the Electoral Commission and the Constitution also give the Electoral Commission the compulsory mandate. That is to say, that compulsory by force, the Electoral Commission suppose for register each and every Sierra Leonean we don't qualify for vote for making able for vote. If that even include for making them go meet the person in house, they're supposed for doing, and that the law tell them. And the law provide the qualification, how person could qualify. So if you're not 18 years, you get sound mind that possibly you sense complete. Then also it talks say citizen of Sierra Leone. Citizen of Sierra Leone, if you get a birth certificate or any other document where identify you as a Sierra Leonean, they're supposed to admit her for the electoral officer supposed to take her. Or in the absence of any document, somebody in the community will sabi you, with a respectable person from imam, pastor, any other elder in the community, who will attest to the fact that you're a citizen and you're a resident in the community, you get right for register you.
Is that anything contrary to that they happen,
Yes, now we don't find out if when registration start, the Electoral Commission don't begin to carry out registration. They add new law. In the first place, they begin to say forget NIN, NACRA, NCRA, then you begin to use NCRA. NCRA don't get no business by election business. The NIN don't get no business by registration. Enough to be mandatory. Now they don't come out they don't go to the point and they also begin reject people and birth certificate. Say this birth certificate, the yellow one, they dispute the authenticity of birth certificates, including even where people in the community where they testify to them, they don't admit that. So we will get for established, say for us, the Electoral Commission, the manner and the nature in which they conduct the registration first night, they know they follow the law. The second aspect of violation are the fact that they decide for carry out registration in a rotational way. Say we register half part of the country first for 2 weeks, we register the other half part of the country for another 2 weeks. And that one day again, a process will not comprehensive. Therefore, carry out comprehensive and complete registration of every Sierra Leonean to the point that then they make sure that nobody know the way qualify for register. We want for register, we not get.
So, Channel, again, this is another quick one. If these allegations,
not say allegations. These are allegations. We don't provide evidence with people that they go register. We get hundreds of videos they don't post.
Okay, let me accept that. Let me accept that, brother.
Register.
So let me accept that, brother. But what is there a motive for the action?
Of course.
What is the motive?
This year, what they talk about, so for the most part, the problem here, 98% of them problem there or 99% of them problem there don't happen only now Freetown, Putloko, Cambia, Karina, Bombali, Makeni. Now the north and the western parts of the country, northwest and western parts of the country, places where the government believes say the people away did it mostly now people away might be suspect say they will likely vote against them. We can call them areas that are districts, towns, and constituencies where opposition parties get a stronghold, where the opposition supporters and largely did it traditionally for local country divide. But up and above that, we get for also underline the fact say even the machines them where they're supposed to use for register people them, they not provide sufficient machine them. So there is a deliberate effort on the part of the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone for use illegal method, unconstitutional approach to registration we will likely exclude up to or nearly 50% of the population of Sierra Leone will qualify for votes, no, for make them able to participate in the elections of 2023. And we don't raise them concern here. We don't talk about them. There are, this is not like a guess with a guess. Testimonies. There's nothing like testimonies of voters. The testimonies, and this is not a problem of first-time voters alone, because the opposition politicians they may avoid the discussion and say, the first-time voters, the machine will get machine problem. No, it's a problem of citizens in Freetown, in Makeni, in Putloko, in Lunsar, and other places across the north and northwestern regions of the country, both old and young, first-time and old-time voters who have not been able to register because either they provide them with faulty machines, they don't provide with electricity, they slow down the process, or they compound, create artificial difficulties no more for many people never register, but frustrate them. This is a technique where any government, where a rogue government, where unpopular, can always employ for exclude deliberately citizens that are likely to vote against the incumbent party in power or the incumbent candidate in power. And at this point, we get more than sufficient evidence for sure say Madabiu and the politicians in parliament who are supporting him do not want a free and fair election. They do not want credible elections. They do not want elections to be conducted according to the rules, regulations, and laws governing the conduct of election, governing the conduct of the Electoral Commission. And this not a charity, not a good neck they do to people. Kone and all the electoral staff then get constitutional obligation. Now a matter of must, now by force, the constitution says now by force, they must register each and every Sierra Leonean. So the reduction in the time for registration, the introduction of more rules requiring the qualification of voters without reference to law, all of them here are illegalities. The provision of faulty technology and insufficient voter registration materials and equipment, all of these are a calculated plot on the part of the ruling party and its opposition allies and other interest groups in the country for frustrate voter registration. Hundreds and thousands of people have not complained, and the opposition politicians have not bothered to touch the issue. And opposition politicians in this case, we talk about both those in parliament and those outside of parliament who are working with those in parliament to carry out this situation. For example, the coalition of progressive political parties, where they don't say that illegal organization they call COP. Today they say not illegal. Now we don't want to hide the counter and say illegal. A COP, like I would say, COP with no handle. They go hold press conference. Not get phone call for talk about other than for first-time voters. We know the problem of first-time voters, faulty machines. They don't address any of the issues dealing with technology, dealing with the corruption, dealing with the illegalities and unconstitutional conduct. As for the parliamentary leaders, they don't set them out. The reason is they do not want a credible election. They don't show we from their activities in the parliament with the effort to pass a law we for support all of this unconstitutional conduct. They fail for doing. Now they allow the Electoral Commission to go ahead with the voter registration, the election process in an illegal way. Forget about the thief. The violation of the Constitution is a coup against the Constitution. It's a coup against the rights of Sierra Leoneans. So we're not going to get democracy where a greater sector of the population is being prevented from actual participation. The right to association, the right to choose a representative of your own choice is a constitutional right guaranteed by the Constitution of Sierra Leone, guaranteed by the secondary statutes which condition the conduct of elections.
Let me ask you this, General. Let me ask you this quickly. Let me ask you this quickly, if I can, while I've got you. I mean, from all what you explained, makes a lot of sense. But it does sound like, and this now outside people and get this big if and but. Even though I believe say you've addressed it a couple of times. And one of the things they would try for use with this short program is even long before you program on Sunday, how people can get prepared for some of the bombshell then where you get for him. In other words, it sounds very much like there's a collusion between opposition parliamentary leaders them and the ruling government. And this is not unheard of. It's not like some new phenomena. But in this case, Sierra Leone, people and they wonder how, why, and waiting at the incentive. And my question to you is, if this is the case, you know, waiting at the incentive, waiting this opposition leader and get for benefit if they do collude with the government of Julius Maada Bio.
We don't address this severally. We're talking about power. It all deals with, in the case of the APC, internal party conflict, where the opposition, you see, the party has been disabled. They don't scatter APC. In a 60 years old political party, you get a situation where the party has no functioning executive. They not get ward executive, they not get constituency executive. Even with this election, where you check, now you see that they count all kinds of like, but when you check for the first 2 weeks when we do investigation about the deployment of party agents, you find out, say, for the APC, 80% of polling registration centers, when you check them, they had no real party agents. In places where they claim they are APC party agents, when you check them, they are actually fronts for the ruling party. And in most cases, the APC not even we get a reporting system where they took track. And when I say APC, I talk about the people who have hijacked the APC, the 21-man committee and their faction leaders. In the first place, we do the registration stuff. I'll tell you them people there how unserious they were or how they don't give up the elections to Bio. Then they ask the new supporters and the citizens of Sierra Leone for direct all the complaint to the European Commission, the European Union diplomats. They told their own supporters and members and potential voters to direct complaints about the registration process, not to their parliamentary leaders or to the party, but to the foreign diplomats. And what do we see? Foreign diplomats came out and we are touring the country. And up to now, this week as we talk so, the British High Commissioner and her team are going around the country visiting districts and district registration center. Tell me, which we saw the same thing for the US ambassador. We go Cambia and put local. Of course, you see the EU ambassador, they on a motorcycle, even they go around the country. Where is the opposition leaders? Where are the opposition leaders? It take them for example, Cheriko 7 days for release a statement. Under pressure, we read that there was nothing inside. We read the corporate press statement was just full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. As Shakespeare would say. So these politicians had actually given up the elections to BO. They want BO to go for a second time because it will enhance their own, they maximize their own opportunities in their own parties for their preparation for 2028. We don't say this repeatedly. You a candidate, any candidate will contest an election, will get interested in an election. You deploy party agents, you supervise, you tour with all the kind. Now in fact, for tell you, the entire national media of Sierra Leone gave complete news blackout to the registration process. The social media that is tied to opposition politicians give complete news blackout. Where they do protest, where they tell their supporters to do protest. Both in Sierra Leone and outside of Sierra Leone, they do live broadcast of the violence where they take place because that violence serves their objective. They try to make the diaspora look ugly, and at the same time, the violence back home, they help the government for crackdown on the civic space we exist because they not be even expecting people to come out. They not be even talk about it. I tell you, when we carried out investigation in the diaspora, you find that most of the APC, for example, supporters who are supporting some of these parliamentary leaders or parliamentary politicians, they know they go register safe. I've spoken to many of them who they tell and say the young party people they tell them, no, the place dangerous, Maada Bio, they're fearful, and they arrest you. So people who have gone quietly. But they take advice from the young politicians and they discourage them for go. Some of them even told me in an interview there. Then they say, will they collect data of all of this the way they go? They spoke on the record and off the record saying, we are telling them, I don't say, hey, what you can find here? So basically, you check from Virginia, from New Jersey to Ohio, Columbus, and all these places. Many Sierra Leoneans are being discouraged from going back home to register. And it was also the intention of the politicians in the country for create violence, protest violence, to the extent that they would intimidate and disperse people from taking part in the registration process. They were shocked to even see people coming out and to line. You don't understand? Now that's how I did begin to. In fact, today, now I see somebody that sent me one small like incident form. Okay, incident form, say an APC incident form. Now Tom Colini say they get somebody to register and do so. All of this is fake because now they don't see now say now the diplomats, the ambassadors and their teams, foreign diplomats, foreign observers, diplomats and their observers stationed in Sierra Leone are the ones going around the country to inspect registration. And by all indication, what we go see as citizens of Sierra Leone, because for example, if you know say the EU ambassador they can alone start today at social center, they don't get the Makoni say the man they can, or some one woman they can't win a foreign person. They go even put somebody where hey, where the APC party agent? Somebody go, yes, I'm representing APC, when in actual fact that was not even a party agent. So all of this, there's a risk. So that now some of the now they try to say we deploy, say we don't create incidental form. We did this, we know say this they happen. You remember 2 weeks or a week thereabout before the start of registration, we even launched on the website. In fact, on the then and now, we announced that we are creating an incident reporting form to capture reports. We also launched a phone number for people that begin provide the incidents, because so you will see say deploy to tell their supporters direct support to direct a complaint to foreign diplomats that will say make Sierra Leoneans, it's about discarding responsibility. 80% of the videos of incidents were produced by independent processes, including what we initiated. You know that. In fact, now when they post video, then the young people they take the video, then now they circulate it. Then the politicians and them sit down. They never wanted that. If you be left to them, they want to go register, then tweet say, when you look, all the tweets where some of them post, that will say, oh, the registration go well, make everybody go register. But in actual fact, people have turned up to register, hundreds in lines. We are unable to register for the first 2-3 days. Now, when you check all of these political machinations, illegalities, and constitutional violations, then you begin now to put the numbers in the conversation. Then the question becomes, for example, the first 4 days, the Electoral Commission announced, because the first 2 days, are also halal all over the country, especially Freetown, every side where registration start. No registration center, no day. There is no registration center that opened in the western area, in the north and northwest during the first 4 days that did not experience one problem or another, or a compound of problems, including machines that were not functioning, delay in lines. In fact, in some places, 2 days, they're not able to register. We get the videos, then we get testimonies, people, hundreds of people. Now, the next 2 days again, we have people who came to register. We are prevented from registering, slow them down. We like, no, this, not it. When they complain about them problem, yeah, the Electoral Commission, before you can talk about why the problems, what did the Electoral Commissioner do? Nafoka announced, say, they don't register nearly 500 and nearly 500,000 people. The question is, where did those numbers come from? Because they are certainly not from Freetown. They are certainly not from Lonsar. They are not from all of it, because there is no registration center in any of these places in the first 2 days that was able to capture 30 or max 50 voters that were registered, properly registered.
Absolutely.
And then talk say again, in these first 4 days, they reported about little over 60%, which means there was nearly 40% or 38% or above 35% that was not reported during the first 4 days. So the question is, what it constitute? Where does the numbers of the first 4 days come up from? Those 60%. Then now the Electoral Commission will tell you about that too. After with all the challenges, and the challenges continued up to the end of the first week. I mean, the first 2 weeks. The first week, the situation was so bad that the National Elections Watch, that had kept quiet, issued statement, followed by Cherikoko issue statement. All of them spoke about what? The challenges to voter registration, equipment, and difficulty first-time voters, followed by what? Followed by a press conference by the cop without handle. They said talk about the same problems. Bam, after 15 days, which was they say the Electoral Commission will continue. They say don't register over 1 million people. So the question is, we are asking simple question. Produce the numbers by word. By registration, if it's for registration center, transparency sake, boom. We get social amount of registration center. These are the people who have registered. The reason is simple. We strongly believe, by the evidence of videos collected and testimonies of people, including in areas where where the registration staff the registration staff don't move away from that place there. Because all the side where they been first start for register, no registration machine no did again. No registration no dey take place again. Don't go other side. Okay? What in Corner say? Corner say if you don't be register, if you been there Kisi old road, you don't be register. Then you know say they register na Shell New Road. Come out from old road, go na new road, you go register. And that in itself is a violation of the law. Because the talk say you should be registered in the place where you are ordinarily resident. Ordinarily resident. You see what we talk about? Now, if you in a village number A, the registration don't come the computer don't be woke. The problem don't delay they don't move after the 2 days, they don't go na Macomb. We're na 2 miles away from you. Then they register there. If you don't be registered, na Mabaft. You go na Macomb, then register. So what can go Macomb, you go register. So it's madness.
Okay.
Because then, there and then, that pronouncement, that sentence alone shows that Kone is organizing the voter registration process as and how he thinks like. The law is in his head, the process is in his head. Like, this is what we call colony of gorillas, gangsters. Gorilla
if I can just come in quickly, you never stop to amaze me with your intellect, whether on a higher level, in a middle level, or lower level. I mean, you are all on those different levels. Very, very unique kind of guy you are. But I want to ask this question. Most of what you talk is academic, and then yeah, I mean, but if we have a population, and here's the issue, General. If we have a population in which between 65 and by some estimates 75% of we population are illiterate, when amamikos and and name it, how do people here internalize that kind of conversation they are where they have and try to make the difference here where people like you and others are trying to make, so that Sierra Leone they move away from this kind of prospect of gangsterism and nefarity and all the negatives, and come to a 21st century country we get an aim and an aspiration for be among a community of nations that are decent and civilized.
Yeah, now the thing that because that's what politics should be about, really. It's about progress, it's about the debate on public policy and development. That's what democracy is about. It's about social advancement. And you cannot do that outside of ideas. Mami cause not ever change country. There is nowhere in the world where vulgarity as a currency of dialogue has changed anything. Now decadence that one day. And you get for blame on the politicians, because now increasingly in Africa we don't get what we call the entrepreneurs of violence. People who don't make violence, politicians who don't use violence as a means to power. And that violence can be of various forms. It can be verbal, psychological, physical, all kinds of. We see that's what we have in Sierra Leone. And at that day they make people, and even this idea of delaying registration, people that come off for car register, you make sure say they not able to register. It's violence. It's a structural kind of violence. It's a political violence that pushes people away from the center of political participation to the margins of the state. And at that they cause crisis and conflict. So what it make we not get civilized conversation nowadays, when would have able cost the best mommy cost nine the possible they take charge is because the politicians where they occupy power, where they sponsor this, where own these networks of violence. Now just undecent individuals, they cannot handle the debates on public policy. And not only that, they are also dishonest. Because this kind of thing, a simple thing. What you make it think say parliament decide for pass law, few months to registration. The law we talk about now June, they can go to parliament. No registration, they come September. There was already dates for election. There was already dates. A calendar has been developed for the election cycle. In the process, parliament decide for smuggle law, for make law secret one for the election, because they know say they conduct election without rules and regulations, and the rules and regulations developed by the electoral commission should be in conformity with the statutes, the secondary law, and the primary legislative document and constitution. They know this. If they not be noticed, they not go. If you be say connect for organized election, how you think like how they run, even your own family house, you know they do and so. You get a procedure and principled way of becoming a parent and how you organize your family or how you organize your own life self. You don't understand? So
Mm-hmm.
you cannot run a country by straight up what you think you put on. But because of the dishonesty and then complicity, they have allowed this situation to triumph in exchange for making them hold them responsible for talk about the issues as we talk about. This is not magic, not rocket science, but because no one engage with that. So what do they do? Then they organize violence, either physical violence, like then like protests when they organize, we don't get leadership, you don't get face, you don't get meaning, you don't get direction. Then I want. You don't get clearly stipulated demands. What they want? Now, mommy cost. Neither the language. Mommy cost. You don't understand it. So, in place of civilized conversation for many politicians, they then push their supporters there. And many of these people, I'm sorry to say, are people in the general sense of the word are, you know, uneducated on the issues that matter in society.
Absolutely.
They don't understand. They don't understand how countries for run. They don't understand how society for organize. They're not sabi nothing. You don't understand. And so the politicians the way for take leadership. In the absence of leadership, you create this vacuum. Not like somebody step in, then prop up them proxies on the stage. You don't see. So at least we talk about entrepreneurs of violence, politicians the way own violence and they get violent networks. The cliques and the gangs that return, the Kush and the Mamikos is owned and sponsored by the very politicians the way they wear suit and tie. They don't take them picking and put them in a street hole. Then they take people picking them way uneducated, way are the victims of the social structures of violence, the corruption, the bad governance, and then people they picking they put in a street. Say, yeah, chair Mamikos. Yeah, talk so. So it's a disgrace, national disgrace. It's a shame to these politicians. And this brings me to the question of what we're talking about. It's not academic. When women they organize and hold an Eskroma responsible, accountable to minimum principles and standards of good governance, these APC politicians will own the networks of violence here from parliament. They maintain a power. We have been opponents standing outside of the state. They hold them. When we be ready for get free and fair election, at least in 2012, we say the standards of electoral engagement for happening. We supervised registration. We were on radio, every place. The debate with her. I don't talk, I'm not repeat it again. In 2012, we introduced the first biometric voter registration process. Me and one of 21 delegates will go Belgium for supervised registration, the production of the registration data. We verify, we fly back, we not even say the team come back because of a Belgian company. We did that, we make that demand. The United Nations contract an international company. We are one of the best in the world when it comes to biometric system, biometric identification system. So by now, 10 years later, we're not going to talk about registration difficulties or how to update the register. Now, because these people, the way don't make a cabal of gangster thieves and dishonest politicians. And when you see them, these are young people, but completely dishonest. And they have tried with this dishonesty and deception for many time. And what it don't cause the problem, because some of us who know them, we sabi and study them games them, don't begin expose them games them. The only thing they can do now go hide in a corner. They don't go hide, lock themselves inside room, and avoid the conversation. We're basically calling them now come out with debate. Because public policy is about debate, not a war, not a fight, not a mammy course. Now ideas. If you don't get the idea, you have no business being on the public stage. So in the absence of ideas, in the absence of honesty and decency, then they sponsor illiterate conversations outside in the public domain. It's high time those of us who have been there and stood on the issues have to call these issues. Now, with responsibility for educating people. With the talker now, you don't go announce registration half and half. Prostrate statistics. You don't do that. You release the statistics in comprehensive form. Transparently. This time people will register in a free term, we get machine problem. Like you see, we get 5 words. Word number 1. Now these people they register. Word number 2. Now these people and then we know. Say there are people who are ordinarily resident in this constituency, in this ward, who have been left out. Then we begin to talk about what can be done to capture each and every citizen into who is qualified to vote or qualified to participate in the election to be registered and given the opportunity to participate. Because another day will spend money for you. You've already taken $10 million that you cannot account for. How you would try now to subtract the register again by excluding people? Now, all the people that we don't left will not be registered in the first 2 weeks. And there are many of them who we never collect names of them people and all the names, I mean videos of testimony of groups of people, young people and old people who go register. 2 weeks and they go register. Now the register machine don't move, go on the other side. What in the commissioner say, well, follow the machine, now go register. So by now, if these politicians care about elections, about winning an election, they really want to participate in election, they don't want to give other people more free charge. Therefore, don't identify. Not say they don't know, they know the issues. They clearly know the issues. In fact, if you left to them, this will nobody talk about her. Now, if they monitor them, if they disturb them, when they talk about NTR, it is paining them just like when they take a needle, if they put inside somebody's body. That's why they monitor, because they don't want this. What do they want? Now, foolish conversation. You don't understand? Campaigns will not get nothing for do. You were talking about voter registration. You talk instead of registration, you talk about demonstration. I mean, you sponsor and pay for demonstrations and activate demonstration instead of finance and create the environment for many people and go register. Then now you complain, say you open it, they take people from Liberia, put them at buses, Sierra Leoneans and carry them. We have no evidence that those who were put on those buses were not Sierra Leoneans. And the right of every Sierra Leonean for go register, because I not provide the opportunity for me to register outside of the country. So if they get away for travel, for go register, and get away for travel for go vote, they can do that. You don't understand? They can do that because people they fly now on the take their money, pay and go there. That's the same. If you say get money before you pay people and say when I go do demonstration in cost na street, you for finance the help the process of taking people to their registration centers, made and register. They don't do that because many of them do not want their own supporters in the opposition supporters to register. That's the fact. We don't investigate this. We don't say it. And we'll begin talking before this thing happen. We talk from June, July, August. If any person where they listen, where they watch, they remember and really go agree to the facts and the reality as a conscience they tell them, both the politicians, some of their supporters who are conscious, some of them who have been misled by their own leaders, this is what we talk to not true. I mean, all we want is a free democratic environment. People should have the right to participate, uphold the law, uphold the constitution, give people a peace, give them the chance to select. If Mother Bio, that the preference of the people of Sierra Leone, let them choose him. We don't work to continue. We are journalists. We are social commentators. We are public intellectuals. The conversation around public policy will continue regardless of who is in power. Now, we don't roll that. We don't decide, say, Mr. X Day, Mr. Y, na ending a power. As long as you develop law, you develop policy on how to run the country, we will engage you. If we say the law no good or if we make them better, what do we want improvement? So, but we say, if people in a salon all want vote, madam, we don't get a problem with that. In fact, if we say they vote, if one vote for a vote,
okay.
Vote against
Cheno, well said. Let me just go quickly to the chat room and let me have a review. There's not much in the chat room today. But let me have a quick review. Sometimes the chat room can reveal a lot. The first few names they were familiar with, they are constant viewers of ours, apart from Bernard A.G. Jones, who says, thanks, brother. Don't know exactly who he was thanking there. It's probably you, I believe. George Orwell is a regular contributor to the platform. Good afternoon, Mr. Kroma. Kunku Motate is also a regular contributor. Hello, Prince and Patriot Fambulem. Martha Bangura is watching. Mariatu Anderson. Hi, my brother from Sierra Leone. Anita Kuroma. Hi, hey, Sister Anita, how are you watching? Mohammed Maruf Saw. Good evening, everyone. Is Mr. Ba around? Of course he's around. Of course, when you asked the question, he wasn't around. But he's been very much around, very much present in the last hour or so. Salimatu Favor Kamara, thanks for the great job. Abdullah Ishmael Kamara, thanks, Mr. Kroma. I think this announcement once again added some importance to your ever-increasing sacrifices towards our community. May Allah continue to bless you. I can only second guess now the new people that will bring in the platform in terms of legal advice, pro bono basis, health show. I believe say my brother Abdullah they talk to. Thank you so much. Memuna to Muna Barry. Good afternoon, Sir Prince. I'm now Sir, and I bow to you, sister. Thank you so much. Brother Cherno A.M. Bar, blessings. Many thanks for that, and we receive them. Thank you so much. Memuna to Barry, Power On, Abdullah Kamara. Always soothing to hear from intellectually inclined discussions. Thanks, Mr. Kroma, and our brother Chernobyl for his tremendous work over the years for the land we all love and want the best for. Mr. Kamara, I appreciate that, but my name no get H Panam is -H. And for many months, I make the same mistake with Mr. Ba in name. And hesitate. Every time I made those mistakes, every time you go correct me. Because when we go school at Cathedral back in the 1970s, I had a very close friend called Chernoba, and I used to call in the name, spelling the name with an H at the end, Chernoba. That Chernoba we know when me and him go school, we sit selective entrance together, and we all go different schools. Me go Academy, him go Prince of Wales. He died behind that bridge where they behind Eastern Police Station. He will be small self. In the run go across back and forth. I never crossed that bridge. We went there so many times. Every time I look around, I'd rather go around instead of crossing for go home at Dovecot. No way. And one day we go school, high school, then academy. We did on the bus. We arrived at Eastern Police Clock Tower, and the traffic was blocked. And they say somebody fall down and die na that bridge day. Lo and behold, this was a friend where we sit down na primary school together na Cathedral Boys School from class 4, 5, 6, 7. Ezekiel Mokomok, Julian Osborne. Few people that were still around, and some of them they watch this show as we speak. Where we get for your reading, and they were small, so probably 12 years old, 13 years old, 14. It was Chernobyl who died. So me attention be always there on CHERNOR. Not knowing for no say Chernobyl of the African Express. He own Chernobyl with an H, and he never hesitated to correct me. So no disrespect, Mr. Abdullah Kamara, I appreciate you, but my name na minus the H. I'm Kroma, Kroma. Thank you so much. Memuna to Muna Barry, share, please. And I just add to the sister, continue for share. This is free education, the University of Open Education, free of charge, with Cherno African Express Bar in charge. Fuad Sise, welcome, Mr. Bar. Memuna to Muna Barry. Okay, Salima to Favor Kamara, welcome, Mr. Bar. Yusuf Dabo, many thanks to TNN Media team and to Mr. Bar. Thank you very much, Mr. Dabo. George Owen, Mr. Kroma, you just made my day. Thank you very much for the short notice. To our brother, Mr. Ba, may Allah bless you, Mr. Ba, for your selfless service to this nation and for responding to such a short time notice. Of course, this is where you see the sacrifices. And Mr. Sef appreciate that. But thank you for reiterating the same value in the Abdullah Kamara. The very short notice to Mr. Chernobyl and his even immediate response to national call of duty shows the level of patriotism he exhibits day in and day out. You could not have said it better. Many thanks for that. Muran Sise, nothing but the truth. Fode Mustafa Toure is watching. Abdullah Kamara. Yaya Ekalon, come learn about the decadent of your rotten junta regime. Of course, I think Abdullah Kamara, they respond to somebody way obviously opposed to it in Chernobyl or the platform they say. Francis Mother Smith, you are out of your 5 senses and keep on advertising your madness on social media. Can you please send out your post against our former leaders, APC political party leaders, when they were busy stealing and embezzling state funds in Sierra Leone? By that, if you try it, you find yourself in hot water or in hell. The good citizens of Sierra Leone are no longer interested in any rubbish or silly post on social media. You are just entertaining your APC political party fans on social media. I don't know who you are speaking to, Mr. Francis Mother Smith, but I will suppose it's the platform anyway because now we host the program. But I got news for you, brother, and you're so misguided. This talk about where were you is redundant. It just shows how much una not even include you and others that think in such way, not even include on for ask people where were you without even doing your due diligence. Because I don't see them, they ask people, like for example, I see many people asking Chernobyl, where were you? Are you out of your senses? It just clearly showed that you've not been following national issues. Rather than you just join now, other than in the past. It's so pathetic that you ask such questions. And furthermore, the judgment that we can make is prior to the now, it doesn't mean that we are supporting the then, but prior to the now, the space being a little bit more open as opposed to now, brother. This is just a fact. Chernobyl, from the calculation, is a fan of neither both. He's advocating for a change in society from the norm where we don't come for believe in. The alternative reality where we come for can land under Donald Trump. This is what the brother is trying to advocate for. This time, your understanding. If it is different, I stand to be corrected. But they talk about anything about state looted funds. Yes, we can admit, or this platform can admit, that the state was looted in the past. Corruption is nothing new. But when we try to equivocate the corruption we did then and now, we now see it even worse. It's just a fact. The woman who was responsible for conduct auditing was fired for her position. The best thing you can do, brother, is for go investigate why. And I will end on there, because if you go investigate why with an open mind, that would help you to understand a lot of what is going on, why she was fired. Some people will say suspension, but this is more than suspension. It's over 1 year on. Where are the employment rights? Where are they? Where is the commission that was set up? Who were those that constituted the commission? Were they no conflicted people, regime people? But like I say, I'll leave this to you. Stop asking silly questions. Let us all be Sierra Leonean, regardless of who that we support. But when it comes to the critical space, like Cherno can say, instead of closing that critical space where we're supposed to have the conversation, by intimidation, which is so rife, we should keep an open mind and continue for the conversation. Those of us that are interested. I don't think Cherno want to take a call today, because I suppose these 2-3 calls they were again in the last moment, people and we want to ask questions. Cherno Bar, to those of you that are watching, this program is going to be ongoing. This is different to the Cherno Bar just feeling, and now somebody been say, I appreciate for what he do. He just feeling the space as a call to national duty. And I get so much to the brother for doing that. But he get in regular platform, and take note if you did not know this. On every Saturday, probably there might be a slight change in time due to some circumstances, extenuating or other, but he will always be on the program until otherwise advised on Saturdays. That are in regular program. Some of it may be a calling program, and he may decide, because I need to call the shots on a program, or whether he want for your phone calls. Okay? So please, another fire again. In less than 48 hours, Chernobyl will be on the program. If we don't see the flyer, we made a mistake on the date. That date will be corrected tonight, and we will put her out there for correct the date. Yeah? So let's just go on quickly and complete this reading. There are not very many. George Orwell, this is fantastic, Mr. Cromer, for bringing this distinguished gentleman to the show. I'm just happy to hear this gentleman speaking trust. Trust me, we are passing the message to our people back home. As soon as the show is over, I will send it to groups to what's up back home. I have no doubt from waiting the brother in tone, it makes so much sense. And away from that, there are many others where the sentiment where the brother express, it resonates with them. And this is just the issue about justice, about fair play, about righteousness. You get to remember, say, those that talk evil, those that perpetuate evil, are just few. That's not the ruling class in terms of selfishness. What a brother talks about who is on the show now is far beyond that. In fact, they have been exposed. And the fact that they don't like that, they had a saying that when you fight corruption, corruption will fight back. The same is true that when you fight injustice to those who are perpetuating injustice, they will fight back. And one thing I want to say in terms of which I just said just now, just about 2 or 3 minutes ago, we are re-waiting Brother Cherno say. He said that then same politician they're quite comfortable in using the services of other people and picking them for carry out the extrajudicial action them. In other words, criminal activities them. Serving people, picking them drugs for carry out the the agenda them. Things that they can't do to their children, and we understand this. So Fambulem will expose all of these things because we know if Sierra Leone must change, we must have a candid conversation around this. The biblical verse they will say, do unto others as you will have others do unto you. I mean, we can extricate pieces of the Bible. I don't agree with its entirety. I've got such a critical mind, and that's what I was saying earlier on. Is I don't just believe because I supposed to believe. No, I'm not in that class. Memuna to Muna Bari, to each its own. Keep doing, Brother Cherno AM Bar. Concerned Sierra Leoneans appreciate your effort. God bless you and your team, sir. Many thanks for that. Gladys Williams. Gladys Williams sounds new. This name sounds new. Let's see what she says. The problem we have in Sierra Leone is the gullibility of our people, and this is what this rogue government is preying on. I absolutely agree with you, sister. If it's mathematically possible on 110%, I give that to you. But the issue here is, how do we change the narrative? Because we can't sit on our laurels, on our backsides, and just accept what it is. Somebody has to do something. The brother is championing the cause. Are we with him in trying for change this narrative? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. Thank you so much, Sister Gladys Williams. I believe this is not your first time. Dan Chisala sounds new as well. He said yes. Probably the response to Gladys Williams. Lahai Kube Dauda. Good evening, Tianen. The program today is crucial in terms of the ongoing voters registration, especially having Mr. Ba and Warise for thorough analysis on the current situation in the country. These two guys have a wealth of experience in the government structure of the ongoing political dispensation and the high level of corruption orchestrated by the current regime. I cannot thank you much for bringing awareness to all Sierra Leoneans. Cannot thank you much for listening and sharing this kind of sentiment. Thank you very much. And I know say the two brothers are listening and they are here to stay. Cherno Umar So. The good thing is, Chernoba and his Africanist press have done and continue doing enough is to educate our people about their rights and the need to stand up to attempts by rogue regimes. Did you hear that? Rogue regimes. And not only point out a regime, the brother said regimes. In other words, it's what the Africanist press is doing. Where some people they want to make like say it's personal, like say he's targeting a particular entity. No, that's why you need for look back on his work. The Bio regime, for instance, did you hear that on the line? Now recognizes the fact that it cannot carry out its nefarious collusion with cheap opposition elements to defraud the people without being thoroughly checked. Brother, I must give you some clapping. Wow, well said. Thank you so much. Abdullah Ishmael KAMARA. So any patriotic Sierra Leonean citizen will honestly appreciate the work of Mr. Ba. Absolutely agree. Furthermore, he said, except those individuals that could not see beyond their noses, as Franz Fanon, of course a philosopher, thank you for quoting him, I'm a fan of his, once expressed on his cognitive dissonance. The evidences Mr. Ba has been and still providing are creating feelings that are extremely uncomfortable for the perpetrators. What an intellectual class we have on this short program. Once more, thank you so much. Sine Yusuf Bangura. Cherno, the Mamikos Media is owned and sponsored by EBK, Samora and Co. The APC per se, that is Emil Kroma's candidate and party. Okay, Sine Yusuf Bangura, I can't say thank you for that because you're so far off the cuff. And let not give any credibility to that, but I will ask you for do your due diligence. I don't subscribe to Mamikos in no shape, sense, or form. And if you go on social media, you scotch through social media, you go see that I'm being attacked. And this is the evidence that I'm being attacked by both sides. This will help you for sure how wrong you are. That I'm being attacked by both sides, if not more. In other words, the APC and the SLPP, my mom, my late mom, may her soul rest in peace. It's been cursed. It's been cursed. When we take on this, project, we know say the Mamikos, we try for change that narrative day. This is what Kevin Oba says, for change that space day. But what you say here is completely incorrect, my brother, because even myself that I'm speaking here tonight, Sine, I am a victim of Mami cause. But that will not dissuade me from carrying out the projection where we get for we country for change the narrative so that waiting we find a meet, not when we going picking a need for find a meet. Sine Yusuf Bangura make another further comment. Let's see what he says again. Chair, not to be honest, I do not understand why the opposition wants to vote murder. Okay, I think Chair, maybe in another narrative way is becoming very preeminent out there. In other words, that the opposition they support some elements of the opposition they support Madabio. But Sine, you need to do some more work, brother. Sine Yusuf Bangura, big kudos to Cherno. Big kudos to Cherno. That's a good one, but for what? I wish you can, explain more because you came off the cuff with something completely different. Well, thank you so much. Yomi Bates Wilson, I am hooked as usual. Thank you too. Yans, watching from Freetown. Hi, Freetown. And this is something I want to say as well. In the future, we they ask una bodia any sound they watch from una make a known day. Like our Yans say, watching from Freetown. Sister Koroma, Anita Koroma, watching from Turkey. Sister D is watching from. Please make it known where usa una they watch from. It's very important for us. Salima to Vincent, 2028. I don't know what you mean by 2028, Sister Salima to Vincent. We know to suit here than I we need to look at crystal ball. Saidu Saw. Thank you, Mr. Kroma and Mr. Ba. Thank you for your good job. Abdul Fofana, thanks very much for the great work. Joseph Sise, thanks so much for the tremendous job you guys are doing for our beloved country. Dixon Toronka, good evening, African Express. And I'm sure say African Express wish you a good evening as well. Patrick Dust. Respect Mr. Ba and Mr. Koroma. And Mr. Kroma, by the way, Kroma. I can understand why people are spelling it that way because I'm familiar with. But I'm Kroma, Kroma. For this, they have called me a foreigner in the land of my birth, the land of my mom and my dad and my forebearers. Memuna to Muna Bari, thanks for that correction. I did not realize it's Cherno is with an H. So is it Cherno? Not to me, one you make that mistake. A lot of people they spell out with an R. Thank you, Sister Memunatu. Dixon Toronka, thank you for the program. Memunatu Munabari, misguided is an understatement. Memunatu Munabari, that's right. Memunatu Munabari, thanks, Sir Prince Kuruma. I like the new name where the sister don't give me, Sir Kuruma. It sounds like royalty, although me not a royal fan, Sir Prince Kuruma. Ibrahim Jallo, I sometimes feel bad for Mr. Ba. It seems like he's trying to help people who don't want to be helped. Everyone is on the boat. It looked like Mr. Ba is the only one rocking the boat. You have my sympathy, Mr. Ba. Knowing for what I know Mr. Ba for, I not think say take kindly to the way how you put him, even though you're trying to be kind, that you sympathize with and Mr. Ba is not made of brittle materials. In other words, materials that can cave in or break, so easily. The brother is strong in substance, his resilience. And like you chance, but let you address this. Channel, let me read this one more time. It is from a guy called Ibrahim Jallo. I suspect, say, in feelings are good, but the way I express them, it look patronizing or condescending. I might be wrong, stand to be corrected. But he says, I sometimes feel bad for Mr. Ba. It seems like he's trying to help people who don't want to be helped. That much is true. Everyone is on the boat. I don't know what everyone is on the boat. It looks like Mr. Ba is the only one rocking the boat. Everyone is on the boat. Mr. Ba is the only one rocking the boat. So everybody agree with waiting Mr. Ba there against and I need to shake the boat while everybody else there on board. You have my sympathy, Mr. Ba. How you understand that, Cherno?
No, I think they refer to the sellout opposition politicians, way for stand up.
Okay, yeah,
the failure of leadership. That's what. That's how I understand it. But I want to tell the brother that no feel this is our own role. We don't do this for across regimes. The one in our power today, they also been republished most of the thing they will write before then, and the only thing we're different today is the fact that the opposition is in collusion. The opposition, there is no opposition in the sense as we know it in the past. So that makes it they think so. But what it changed the picture, and the fact that ordinary Sierra Leoneans left with the politicians who they talk about, they don't want people to even register. But it's the first time we may see hundreds and thousands of people and turn out for register, just like saying they go take Bulgur supply. They tell go with the two line for Bulgur during the wartime. It never happened. So this they tell you, say, the work that we're doing is actually resonating. We are not alone. You know, this is it's a collective. I never see this kind of enthusiasm in the country for the last 20 years. So we've made tremendous progress. And progress is being made. Now this make you see, say, the politicians that hide, they don't hide. They don't run away. They don't go hide. They don't go hide. They don't let the people. And now people they complain. So people they send the video there to me. Hey, they don't call. Like for example, when we launch an open phone line for receive complaints from people regarding August 10, we get over thousands of messages, complaints, and videos, evidence of people. And so we don't sort out. We left with 1,750 entries now. We try for screen also. So you see, imagine that kind of. This was not possible 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but new technology and a new age, new technological revolution don't bring we close to the population. It's a new period. We are not alone. The number of complaints what I receive for day, the number of calls and prayers, and I get wow, we can I even receive audio messages of people sending prayers, sending greetings. So it's a beautiful world.
Absolutely, Mr. Ba. Absolutely. And Mr. Ibrahim Jallo, that was in response to his statement. And if I get it wrong, please forgive me. That's what we do, social scientists, based on waiting day before we try for analyze them and see what we can get out of it. But Mr. Ba don't address that. Maruf Kaloko, by the way the registration is going, it has clearly shown that the ECSL, the opposition parties and parliamentarians and civil society organizations, has given the Bio regime a second term. So pathetic. Okay. Memuna Tumuna Bari, yep, she agrees with the last sentiment expressed. Alaji Momo Sanko, good work, Mr. Ba. God will surely see you through. Mariam Asise, Francis Mada Smith, the truth is bitter, my brother. Marabio is not only a thief, but he's a gangster. EBK is a father of democracy and transparent man. Even if the APC embezzled, it did not affect us as now. When right cause came in power. I don't think say Sister Mariam Asise anyway, well said. You make some good analogy there. I don't think say Cherno Bagua agree with that in the sense that he was critical of both sides, even though people didn't want to play politics with the brother in position then. He criticized Anes Koroma when he was in power. And those of you who don't know by now, I don't announce him for quite a long time. The brother has got books that he's written. Some of them you can find on Amazon. Go on Amazon and look for the book. Chano, you want to talk about the book? Give me a quick update about the book. I talk about the gangster of something where you write on that.
Yeah, my last book was right.
Yes, please give people the detail.
An investigation into the Ebola crisis, what I call the Ebola outbreak in West Africa. Corporate gangsters, multinationals, and rogue politicians. Now,
corporate gangsters,
one of
rogue politicians.
Yeah, and a review of the politics of Anes Koroma, and in response to the Ebola situation. One of the most influential books so far. But I got also one what I call Neo-Colonialism in West Africa. So I talk about the role of mostly the Guinea and Sierra Leone for compare the politics in Guinea, the army man business, companies, and how elections are rigged, basically. You get a review of the elections of 2007. Before going back to 1996, there's an assessment of Tijan Kaba in that book, an assessment of the elections of 2007, where it lead to Anes Koroma in Kamwana power, and then a couple of chapters dealing with Anes Koroma and your own economic policies. So both books that we look at, they are all critical of the Anes Koroma government. So I write two books again, what you call two books as a critique of Anes Koroma. And all right, and I work on my first book now on Madabio, this recent thing.
Yeah, we go come to that channel, but it be just important because even though we don't make this out, this is the
and not just Amazon. The books that are available on Waterstones as well. can go to the
Waterstones. And what in Fambule need for understand, these are major publishers and publicists and booksellers them now the UK and globally speaking.
Yeah.
And Chernobyl, the work of Chernobyl, the Africanist press, is being taught. Did you hear me? Probably I don't lay the emphasis well. It's being taught in Western universities. How proud can you be of person where you are? Because with man and they do that, other African nationals and they do that in terms of associating yourself with somebody for good reasons on a national pedestal, national platform. The work of this brother is being taught in Western universities. He's got these books to his credit. And not only that, because what I can see is people that can just reflect the now and not the then. In the then, the man was critical of Ernest Bai Koroma. He was never a fan of Ernest Bai Koroma. Nor did he yearn to be one. He was talking about country, so much so that he wrote books. One of the most critical one in Itaitulam, Corporate Gangsters. Did you hear me? And he was attributing this to the then president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Ernest Bai Koroma, where the report and the audit report, where people like say, they can one believe like say audit report never existed before Marabio, was equally critical of the Ernest Bai Koroma government in terms of Ebola funds, which Chernobyl wrote in detail about. So you can find that book there. Next time, before you can at the platform and can't shame yourself, because sometimes we need for begin for name and shame Sierra Leoneans them for come and can't ask question of Chernobyl, where were you? What a cheap question. What a cheap shot. Go, just do basic Google research. Just type the brother name and you will see loads and loads of work attributed to him. Don't be lazy. Don't be told. Do some work. I'm getting too excited now because, this is completely wrong. Thank you so much. Mara Masise, Francis Mada, okay, I think that been Mara Masise in text we read. Massivan Davis, I think is seen beyond your concern, brother. Holding information from citizens is an abuse. So Chernobyl is marvelous and he's brought this forward like never before. I suppose the brother, he abbreviate a name. I suppose it's a name, CB. And I believe what CB now means in this text, Chernobyl. I don't think I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. Sierra Leoneans are learning a lot about the rights and how to hold government accountable. All kudos to the fine gentleman. But Massive and Davis, I cannot agree with you more, brother. When I say phenomenal, I attach, that kind of adjective to the brother, the phenomenal Chernobyl. Again, not because, like I make man can say, I don't drink in Kool-Aid. No, I'm looking at the brother's work. Yeah, he deserves the merit. He deserves it. And that's what you're saying. So that educational program for people and for come off that trance that we Sierra Leoneans and find ourselves in outside them in on put way, it's imperative upon us, every one of us, for continue for carry the message, for amplify the brother in message. If we find them differently, we can call them and ask them, or we ourselves, those of us with critical minds, can analyze them. But for now, what we know is, with society, with political establishment, it's rotten and rotting to the core. And until we can get the Chernobyls with an apostrophe S, we are in deep trouble, aren't we? Mohammed Yira Kago, we are really excited about you, Mr. Ba. We are learning gradually from your publications. We are behind you and surely changes will come in this time around. I have no doubt that this is true. Not many people are resonating this view, but I believe say at some point we'll be hitting the targets again, 200, 300, 400, 500 live viewers and expressing the sentiment that you've just expressed, Mr. Kago. That Mr. Ba is right. That what he's saying against them gangster, then colony of gangsters, politicians, then we get, where we for don't consign to the 1970s and 1980s, but we are talking about the 21st century. And some of us seem to be encouraging them. It's not going to be tolerated. Some of us have dedicated, we life, to this until we last breath. And let me remind Fambulem something quickly, because again, some are of so much low sort of thought process, low mentality and thinking. Away from the TNN or the TNN as a whole, as an entity, we get something where we learn what they call legacy. Legacy. Legacy is cemented forever and ever. Amen. And I repeat that the legacy is cemented forever and ever. What do I mean by this? We get a dedicated YouTube channel where almost all of we videos them, almost 500 in numbers. They are there and forever until we abuse the rights that are given to us. Okay, we abuse that rights and that respect given to us. But until then, we will remain there. Even if I were to die and go and there are any proceeds that come from the works that we've done, that will go to my estate now. So it's man the work, and we need for understand this. I myself did not realize the enormity until the place where they work, then pull me out one day. It's like, oh really? You know, this. Do you know that this is legacy? Because I sort of overlook them, but its legacy is cemented. So no matter what you try for do for undermine me, you can't take this away from me. It's done. And this is not being mouthy or boisterous or braggadocio as the how you call them, the anti-corruption boss or Donald Trump for that matter. Yeah, this is just fact. This is just real. Arun Kabo, we are anticipating that Mr. Barr will accept few calls. I don't think say Mr. Barr prepare for that. If he give me the signal, maybe we might take 2 or 3 calls because we are far gone into the
Take 3.
Okay, so if we're not listening, Mr. Barr, of course, when they see him live on screen, is giving the green light that we can take 3 calls. Who's going to be that lucky 3 caller? So it's going to be the first. It's going to be the first. So it's a race for the first. Who's there coming first? I got the phones here. We've got the phone lines open. And the number is, let me see if I can put the number quickly. Let me try to put the number quickly. Una bear with me, please. He's giving us the green light. The great chairman of us is giving us the green light that we can take 3 calls quickly. Who is going to be the first? And where's the number? Okay. The number is there. It's on the rolling screen. I don't know whether I can take them away from the rolling screen, but you can see I'm on the rolling screen anyway. You can see I'm on the rolling screen. Let me see if I can take them away from the rolling screen. Can I? No. So I put them back on the rolling screen because the images are too many. The write-up is too many. Yeah. So take note of the number. Where is it again? Here we are. Take note of the number. Okay. So we've got 3 calls before we close the program. Let's just go back. I think we get 4 or 5 comments for read, and then that's the end of the comment box. I want to encourage people and for let we continue for engage ourselves in the chat room respectfully. We can disagree for agree. When I know say this platform from time immemorial, from its formative period, we need to encourage profanity. Anybody who involved in that, they've been expelled or advisable. If you want to stay, you need for find a different approach. The conversation has to be collegial. It has to be on that level. Okay. Patrick Dust. Sure, Mr. Barr, today we are making progress. Blessed up. Agibi, Mr. Barr, is it true that several people were sacked at Bank of Sierra Leone for allegedly leaking government transaction documents to you? I haven't heard that. Any comments, Mr. Barr?
Well, I will not be surprised if that is the case because they're sacking people all over the place. But I don't know of recent. I know people were harassed, and they've always been harassed from the Bank of Sierra Leone, Minister of Finance. I know at end of last year, about 170, at least internal people, internal auditors and people in the government have been sacked from State House to Minister of Finance and other agencies right to the Bank of Sierra Leone on suspicion, including, by the way, the 2 most senior auditors, Auditor General and Deputy. These were all sacked individual civil servants because they believe they were connected to the work of the African Express. But, more casualties get happen. There are people that we don't know about. Interestingly, 2 months ago, when I posted about this on the Facebook, a family, I get 2 calls. We almost make a share this experience. One man and his wife called me. They said they just want to tell me privately. They don't want to make a talk about this, but they were working at the State House. The husband was working in the State House, And the man was deliberately sacked because a minister and some other person believes this person was connected, was basically was suspected of providing information to the African Express from State House, and they were actually crying. Now I say, would I want to make a publisher man talk about it? They say, no, with the afraid men, not can until I woke up and pull with us. God will give you other work. So we don't get that. Then we also don't get a situation where Gavin Cole, if I remember, Gavin Cole was sacked from what are these banks? This small bank in Africa, this bank, UTB, Union Trust Bank, from basically for making a comment on the Facebook page in February 2021, which I questioned the first lady on the first lady's Facebook page. The first lady and her husband called the owner of the bank, the managing director of the bank, Sanfa Kuruma, and saying that for Saka. The very week, they go open a bank, the branch of the bank in Amakeni, and the president had been the guest of honor. And this guy was sacked.
Yeah, I remember the guy. Yeah.
So the case is continuing. Then I don't get a journalist as well, where them harass and sack from a job na SLBC because they suspect say he also associated with we. He don't do work for promote African Express work. So there are many people who are victims in Sierra Leone. Some we know, some we do not know. How many know about this? Either they report to me, or maybe I say on the record. I came to know about the internal auditors in the Ministry of Finance because I may do investigation and see the minutes, the document that they use for sacking. And I guess I not publish some of the documents because some of them they afraid say if I publish them, it will also put them in risk. They will feel that and give me back the document and then can't complain to me. Give me the document. Some of them I don't even know them. I just see the names on the record. So, in the interest of transparency and accountability, we struggle for transparent accountability. It don't lead to many people becoming victims unnecessarily because government they're not concerned about arresting or solving the problem, but I have to make sure say the thief not can at the public domain. If I remember when the circular appears, both the opposition supporters and we been the support matter view. And by the way, now I'm convinced that the suspension of Lara Telopias, if you like, sacking, may have been done with the advice of opposition politicians in parliament. I have no illusion about that now today, based on what my investigation informs me now and what is happening in the country. But what I want to say, now the fact that they don't take that decision here because they want to solve the problem. They want to make sure say the thief in the thief, make nobody not sabi what they happen. So me say we don't wait for some time and they watch, say, sometimes why will not be they publish the details of the president in travel expenditure or some of the other thief. Now because you see say the more they publish, the more innocent people in the public service are being victimized. So we decide say no waiting, make we hold on. So when we take that decision again, the very ruling party supporters and the opposition people they help them, they begin gladly celebrate. Oh, we don't lock all sides. Lara Telopia, so they give African Express leakage information. We don't pull out. We still say they get pull information now. Now here we are. Madam, you take money for go London. You know, rich self, you didn't have the plane, we don't show up. You take money for go Nairobi. We say not invite her. Then somebody to do swearing in ceremony, but you got boom. The money take plane, it go $45,000. They say Queen don't die in England. In West Grab, bam, they go. What you get? So 50,000. So they say, hey, in the kind of UN General Assembly, 500,000. Boom. So now we say the show now. They did at the plane. So somebody, if I should say this, then the politician now when they say, what you go do with this African Express now? This is not tired, this business. So and then they say, no, we're not tired. They say, still not forgive up for Fenway. So they never have Fenway. They never have Fenway for me. They don't start some people and say now they say where the last publication come say Fatima will cry berry, they don't carry go money. Pounds. They don't carry go 600,000. Where do you go? Let's say this African.
Yeah, I think we get called.
Not time.
Do you have contribute to the program? Yeah,
okay.
I
say, but don't give up. I say, but you look at one time, I say, but we don't go time. So they never fair way from you.
Yeah, Chairman, hold on. Yeah, I think we get a first caller. You say you entertain 3 calls, so we get a first caller. So, caller, if you can identify yourself and also you call from, and the floor is yours, please.
Thanks once again, and I want to say thanks to Mr. Barr, for the marvelous job we do. I see also the post today on the email, actually, we're so happy. I'm really happy because this, I think, according to history, there was another way, I don't know if not parliamentarian or one of the Brian Suni, that was in the 60s or so. We revealed so many details about government, apart from those era now. I think Mr. Barr, if they set that recording actually, because not ever there's somebody from their honest days and day from that time, the way somebody meant that I read about that. Apart that's only Mr. Barr now, from the revolution there, they investigative journalism there. So we actually see, if we try to follow the Africanist press, all the regulation, and then we work with that, Salon will become corrupt free. It will be like then China, we say corruption now is like crime, then they send it to prison straight. Then Taiwan, then Singapore. The joke, drugs and corruption, the joke. We today we celebrate corruption leaders. If we tempo go with the Africanist press and other people, like the women and the social media, perceive that at least the poor man gets side for laying it, and the poor man will live and enjoy the sweat when he gets. But at the poor they suffer because before 9 police go arrest, before Okada driver, before taxi driver, 9 and go break, police put money in their hand. You want to take them big money there. They not the bother them at all. Now this time the society this will have prime minister today. But I'm sure I want to rest assured that please, Mr. Barr, that this work on I do so many days because a lot of people don't open up. We will follow. A lot of people don't open up to all the entire way they go on. People don't understand now. The man that they know the village, they will get phone, will get Android phone. They able to follow and know exactly what they go. So God should be that across the country, the people in the local language, they understand Creole. So even the man who don't go school, they know say this thing that they reveal so at least they get a sense of what it mean. So for me personally, I just wish and pray that Mr. Barr continue this good work. If the government change or not, we will continue. Unfortunately, the people that will bank on for all these governments responsible, who then they come out, they don't show up. The judiciary, who be the people that the anti-corruption, the parliament, because they already get documents for shows this, now this will get. Let's not approve a right or wrong. But they don't do anything. We don't really know. But again, some of we sometimes when we look at the parliamentarian, they do well, or they do parliament, but again, when you look at all what is about it, we tend for believing it is true. Then they get a rule for play. Because what are the West we see how parliament is the own minister responsible. We see how parliament did say, way they work for them, for the citizens there. Me, one for example, I'll tell you something. Few times last month or so, I get some documents where for the civil, I think it's from the Home Office. And the lawyer has the type of portray that. And they say, write to the MP. I just write to the woman, and they need Southeast, Hanan. I write to the lady, and he get to me, correct. And the day we get to me, he talk to the, imagine the lawyer not able to take up that issue. He sent, he contact the office, he get to me back immediately. Imagine. He sent me email that you don't contact them. Now I say thank you. I say they don't get to me. First, they get to me from the office. They get to me. And then give me some appointment. So you see how powerful them people that they respect them people there. The MP now, when you even the lawyer,
yeah, absolutely, brother. Yeah.
Yes. So the MP, when you meet them and you send the email, the number the email they not hide. In fact, now when you friend 910, you say, what would I send out to me? They say, just send the email, look the number, I call and speak and send the email. It's straight away they get automatically they reply you. And now man, imagine for all of them they get for this jungle, but it's just the issue but they still get to know say these people then now they live and they will look after them, this and the job. So imagine that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, brother. You're absolutely right. And
so imagine,
yeah.
So imagine that Mr. Prince would then kind of so if the MP will tell me say they can't know, then go to this, even they make law again. What about the common man?
True.
So we tend to believe all what Mr. Badi say. It's saddened for the common people the way they struggle. And why they go to them to make laws, when they say they get right for apprehend the president for all what they happen.
Okay.
What did they do? How
we go post that.
Now they're going to continue for blessing now. To continue with this fight until we try to clean out all these corrupt politicians. If not for we again, but for people yet unborn for many campaign. Thank you very much, Mr. Ba. I want to thank you, Mr. Prince, and now and then media and the whole team, all the technical and the way blind.
Thank you so much. What's your name again, brother?
Ahmed, KAMARA. I did present at West London. I know the new Southeast Korea. I did for West London.
Okay, many thanks for that, and definitely Mr. Bayeri you, and thank you so much, brother, for your contribution, and have a good night.
Thank you too, brother.
Thank you. Channel, we been get 2 other calls them while the border been go on. Let me see we able to bring them come on, so you just address them for the benefit of time once and for all. Let me see whether I will for bring them come quickly. Do you bear with me, if you will? Yep. Is this brother still on the line? I don't know whether this is a brother or sister. It's Mohammed KAMARA.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, brother. You want to contribute to the program?
Yeah.
Okay.
I maybe send the text if I say they were encourage 1 or 2 calls.
Oh, really? Okay, that was brilliant then. Straight away, Chernobyl is listening, and the world is listening to you. So you name and who you call from and your sentiment, please.
Name Aruna KAMARA. I call from New York.
Yeah.
They say the city that never sleeps.
The Big Apple.
Actually.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
The last time I've been asking Mr. Dad some questions, but I think because they elaborate on certain issues, then I think you've been not be able for answer, because I know now when I investigative work they do, just the based in information on rumors. Because one time I've been asked, I say I understand, and I get the video somebody sent to me. I don't know if you say you don't get them, and if you want to send them to you, Mr. Koma, I will send them where this Ali Kababin go. I think when you go register, I talk about say not way and on plan about this registration. They go one a one-off and no runoff no for a day. So if it's somebody in a high profile person from the SLPP, they talk that it's like not and plan. And even yesterday, I listened to somebody send an audio where somebody they claim say they are London. They say, but when they talk to somebody we relate to this Mohammed Kone, but even though say this person APC person, they say the person say the party, say because we can go within the party, then they just pretend say they are no side, so we can get information from both sides. But according to the person they allege, he said this person called Mohammed Kone, he tell her about the registration, and he makes some revelations about how they plan for make sure say the SLP government win, and then they do and deliberately less registration slow now. Certain parts, as then even talks, they say, well, the opposition they talk, just like as soon as they talk, say, APC they talk, they say, well, they're going to court, they say, now that's the one said, even if they're going to court, and for nothing, saying that the state captured on the panel, and then get the court, look what happened to the MPs, the way they take out, you do nothing about that, so it's then, well, the international community step in, so what they go do, with all that, they explain the possible, and they all the audio they're doing the same. But I just want to let them verify the thing and they don't always reasonable doubt and certain thing and they in a room or them, but don't for take and lightly back, we try to find out how authentic it is, you know.
So, but Auna, you get anything specific for Chernobyl for where you go, like for your address, you know, yeah, tonight? I know say you expressed something really serious about this voter registration exercise, but he's spoken a lot about it in Niger, boku material out there. But anything specific where you want for like touch on tonight?
Yeah, well, I think it mentioned briefly, because one time they mentioned, say, they gather information about this protest to be happening. I think it's around 600, 1,000. I just want to ask them, because from that time we've been talking, I know being mentioned, but briefly by this program today, not to be part of the program, but they make an hint or reference to that they make about, at least they don't talk about that. So I don't know when that report they get for and waiting and plan for do that report if they get for send them to the international community after they don't get all the facts and evidence them, you know, at least to help the people of Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that I want to just ask them, yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. And the border there on the platform tonight, and hear you loud and clear. Yes, he did touch on that briefly, and I think we like for talk about, because this is the campaign for justice. So if that's all you've got, then hear you, and probably you want for let you just respond to that. Correct?
Yeah. Then again, I don't know. You know, people the level of literacy very low in that country. How the common man then they get the information for them to be sensitized. That they know.
You mean the information like such as this conversation here tonight?
Huh?
You mean when you say how the common man they get the information there? You mean like the conversation there where we can have?
No, not about this one, but the previous one. Any
no, I talk about generally with conversation the way we can have. How we people in the get
Yes, exactly. Now they talk about so that the people will know, because the information is power. The people will get the information, so they will make an informed decision, so that they will know the right track where they will take for go. At least after they now register, then they go for vote wisely.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Chernobyl capture all of that, and I trust that you point the way you make are very critical and important, and you will be addressing them.
So no, because I did my work actually. I just go now room corner normal.
Thank you for the sacrifice, and this is what
I say. They say it just come I can't talk. You know.
Yeah. Thank you for the sacrifice, brother. We appreciate. Thank you for the sacrifice, and we appreciate that. And the sacrifice we all for the make, you know. So thank you so much and goodbye. Cherno, you heard it.
Yeah, the Right for Justice campaign. Like I say, we already collect the preliminary data. We get thousands of entries. Some of them were old, you know, people didn't send any kind of stuff. And we noticed there was also a process where some of the politicians they try for feeding information away on material for Hamburg the investigation. So we don't filter all of that. For example, we get videos we talk about, we tend for sure the situation will happen at the APC party office. We exclude all of that. We get information, different kind, but we don't filter all of that from the phone, from the entries in the phone, by the way. We get two forms of entries. One will come through the website where we now gather it, we now complete for gather it and process them. But on the phone, what we would already take about 1,750 entries, complaints from different people. And so they try to assess them now, see which one will serve as a basis of we're incorporating the investigation. The next thing now for develop a list of people who will go for interview. And I will tell you, say we plan for interview each and everybody who we think they don't feature in these entries we will receive. And that will include politicians, both in the ruling party, politicians in the opposition, civil society, and any other citizen of Sierra Leone, including the victims and families of victims. So at that stage, they will be. The preliminary stage of the investigation, I would map out to scope and elementary material. So we said on the gather, we had a kind of information in the process, stories, before the event of August and after the event and all of that. So it's going to take a couple of weeks and months of work. Already, we get people on the ground where they look into various aspects of the incident before and during the incident and after the protest. I expect, say, by next week, we intend for do an event, so we'll lay out progress that has been made so far with the ongoing investigation. But it's in progress, and we're very determined. We get a very good team of people, as we announced last time. Only two of us as Sierra Leoneans, myself and Amadou Masali, so far on the steering committee. Many of the other people from Gambia, from Nigeria, from Europe and the US. So we're hoping to produce a comprehensive report which will help people understand the architecture of violence with the causal volunteer and different groups that were responsible for all of this.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Ba, thank you so much. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we will come to the end of this program soon, and I want to say thank you to the incredible Mr. Ba, where they do enormous work, and I've been here for take him out of his siesta just for bringing him on the program, and the fact that he take that up, I am so I'm so incredibly grateful to you. But I promise you, they bring the program to an end very, very soon, sir. Just return to comments quickly because we want to acknowledge a few people. I know Mara Masisi. I know where EBK. Let me see. I know where EBK. Ibrahim Suri Kamara. I know where EBK get this country from. I won't be that kind or ungrateful to EBK. If I can remember far back from where EBK get this country from. 2007, the country was dark. There's no better road network. Okay, we know all of these stories. We need to stop repeating this. I mean, you're making a point. I'm not dismissive of the point where you make. That is true. Well, like I say again, we want to move on. Lamin Dinke, thank you, Cherno and Prince. Mohammed Ishak, freedom of Kashmir and Khalistan. Mohammed Ishak, thank you very much. Freedom to Kashmir. You sound very much like a Pakistani, and all respect to Pakistani and to the struggle between India and Pakistan and the Kashmir region. Thank you for participating on the program. Khalistan, I haven't done too much research about Khalistan, but Kashmir, of course, 20 years of experience in Kashmir. Amanatu Sanusi, Masivan Davis, we pray, oh my dear. Sinquest Nubuya Bio is a losses to Sierra Leone. Masivan Davis, absolutely. Francis Mother Smith, Mariam Masisi, you are telling lies and keep on deceiving yourself on social media. He is the first president in Sierra Leone that removed elected mayor, not selected mayor in Sierra Leone, and sacked vice president in Sierra Leone without following the principles of democracy. That much is true, Mr. Francis Marabio. The first question will be asked, of course, there are many holes in that, but this is true. You're saying something which is factual. Francis Mother Smith, Mariam Masisi, you are not honest with yourself. Fode Mustafa Toure, Ibrahim Suri Kamara. IBK should have been the best president ever in the history of our country, but he allowed himself to involve in corruption. These two traditional parties are not good for our country, and therefore we need to stay off from them if we want a positive modification in our country. Again, this is true by beyond your experience. How do we get about this? Because we don't try. But it seems like this colony of gangsters that Chernobyl speaks of, which resonates, something in me, is the thing. People are not willing to take the sacrifice or make the sacrifice. And this in itself is problematic, isn't it? And that's what it is. Bernard A.G. Jones, Mr. Kroma, Mr. Ba, may God Almighty bless you guys for informing us on issues affecting all Sierra Leoneans. Thank you very much, Mr. Bernard A.G. Jones. Kroma, I mean to say. Of course, okay, now I see what you mean. He spelled the name Krona, and as a decent human being, come back for correct time because people hold value in their names. And this I appreciate, Mr. Jones. Thank you so much. Collier, speak louder, please. Okay. That was Cherno talking to the last caller for speak louder. I agree with that. He was low. Many of us want the best for Sierra Leone. God bless you all for your due. That's Agibi. Prezo Song J-Man, greetings from Bristol City, UK. Abdul King, Mr. Prince Kroma always record audios from his program and share them to WhatsApp groups for the community to get this message. Yes, we did do that, but not 100% committed, but we try for, because there's so much to be done and you get limited resources, limited personnel and things like that. So it's not easy. So if you get some talent, Mr. Abdul King, please feel free for join the conversation and contribute in some way. Yeah. So sometimes you na media person, sometimes you na audio person, some audio expert, recorder, or you understand apps, the different apps, MP3, MP4, how you go about them. We're looking for people as such so that we go, delegate duties and it make it lighter for producers, news anchor, researchers, and things like that. Okay. But many thanks for that. Mariam Assisi, Francis Mada Smith. We are not talking about sacked here, even as that. Did Marabio sack the Auditor General with procedure? Did he sack any AIG? Did he sack AIG Sovula with procedure? We're talking of social development here. Show me the road your president should be bossing. Okay, now it's boiling down to that, really small and personal stuff. You sack vice president, me sack mayor. You sack AIG, when me sack auditor general. Both sides are correct because the country suffers. How do we stop this is the question. Many thanks for the sentiment and the Usmani KAMARA. When somebody says there are Sierra Leoneans who hate Sierra Leone, someone might think it's hyperbole, but it's a fact, and it's why the country is where it is. I think Usmani KAMARA, you made a good point. There was a time when I was foolhardy. I thought otherwise, that it's not possible for you call this your country a hater. But from which I don't learn, from which I do so, I do know that there are people who hate their country, honestly. Okay, on a different note, or on the same note, people seem to be responding to what I said earlier on the way they watch from some side. Do you make a known to we that you they watch from certain side? And as I say, people then begin for do them immediately, which I appreciate. And going forward, if everybody can kindly do this, it's not compulsory, it's just a request. Okay? Alaji Momo Sanko is watching from Milan, Italy. Today, na me Milan verse now, where by the way, I don't know whether na Inter or AC they support, but me na AC because of George Weah and the kind of football with them in the play at the time and the kind of player they with them in get. Okay, then Gattuso, then Fabrinelli, them, and the rest of it, I can't remember all of the names. So today, I wear me Milan vest. Okay, I hope for keep that vest day. And hopefully soon when I visit Monrovia and go see George Weah, he will be able to sign up for me and give value to me vest. Many thanks for watching from Milan and greetings to Milan. Arun Kamara. Abdul Kabo is watching from London, Thornton Heath. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdul Kabo. You're not really far away from me. Thornton Heath is just around me. I live in the southeast, by the way. For those of you who don't know, Abdullah Kamara is watching from the USA. That's in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, good evening. How you doing? And Mr. Abdullah Kamara, thank you for watching from that end. I hope all of you know what I mentioned, so I hope you will spread the news. Memunatu Munabari is watching from Virginia, USA. Virginia, USA, many thanks for watching. It's a place that I'm familiar with. It got a heavy Sierra Leonean community. In fact, one of the earliest Sierra Leonean community that they didn't begin for settle. Virginia, Maryland, and you name it. I've been there a few times. Ibrahim Sori Kamara, I debunk your statements about IBK. Both of them rubbished our country. Please say the facts for the betterment of Mama Sierra Leone. I agree. Yeah. And this na empathetic about the country. So one person build 1 kilometer road. Everybody holla, hey! And then the other person can add half a kilometer per now 1 kilometer or 1 more kilometer or even 1.5. And then people holla. Is that development? Well, you make the decision. We give you the cost for what you think. The registration is all about NACRA. Registration, they accept the NACRA registration papers than birth certificates, evening voter ID card, and etc. Okay, thank you very much for that. Abu Kamara, I would like to encourage all viewers, especially Sierra Leoneans, to spread the messages of redemption we do get from TNN TV Media Empire to the ordinary man in Sierra Leone. Mr. Kroma and Mr. Ba, God bless you abundantly for being very much resilient. And I think this is not my best, and we're not going to understand as a human being. This is not my best statement for today. Best note what I read for today, and I will repeat it one more time. And this is from Mr. Abu Kamara. He would like to thank and encourage all viewers of this platform, especially Sierra Leoneans, which means that he's aware that foreign nationals watch us as well, to spread the messages of redemption we do get from the TNN TV media empire to the ordinary man in Sierra Leone. Mr. Chroma and Mr. Ba, God bless you abundantly for being very much resilient. I can't say thank you enough, brother. Many, many thanks. Amanatu Sanusi, welcome Fambulem 1. We continue to pray for a better Sierra Leone. Yes, I agree with you, sister Amanatu. While we pray, there has to be physical action. In other words, 1 + 1 make 2. Until you put them two the together and calculate them, not to pray no more, they move them things and there has to be a physical aspect of it. Because even the Bible says that prayer without deeds or faith without deed is dead. Thank you so much, my dear sister. Sina Yusuf Bangura, Cherno, can I have your number, please? Well, Cherno is here, he's seeing that. He will decide. Usmani KAMARA, hypocrite. Sierra Leoneans are responsible for the backwardness of the country. They don't think Sierra Leone. Very selfish. Shame on them all. I agree with you. There's a section of Sierra Leoneans that think as such. We see them every day. Thank you so much. Ibrahim Jallo, thanks, Mr. Ba. That's exactly what I meant to say. Agibi, Mr. Ba, is it true that several people were... Okay, I think it's addressed that. So let's see whether I'm able to come to Mr. Ba quickly for end this program. Mr. Ba, if you are there, would you just come on quickly and end this program for we?
Yeah, thank you very much. I know it's not an impromptu appearance, but we're happy with the conversation. It's always good to interact with the people then. And I want to assure people and say we're there. We're committed to the get free and fair elections as alone. I will encourage everybody to talk to your family members, come out and register. We go appeal to friends of Sierra Leone for help we get free and fair elections. We've done great so far. I think as bad as the situation is, we're making progress. Let's keep pushing. We will get to Saturday one for day. And I look forward to Saturday. We'll continue the conversation and get more dialogue around the issues of the day. So thank you very much, Mr. Chroma, and I look forward to Saturday. I salute everyone. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ba, and good night. Thank you so much, and good night once more. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Una very much for taking a listen as Una Yeri. Mr. Chernobyl is going to be on the platform with your own program, which is called Frontline, which is a touch on issues them affecting we country them from a very strong point of view, objective point of view, calculated point of view. And don't make sure say una no miss them. Like from the beginning of this program, I've been to talk about some things they want to talk about, which is borrowed from authority. I did say that, and the reason why I say it's borrowed from authority because I do my due diligence, I do my research, and not only because I believe that, it's as a consequence of the analysis we are they make. The data we are they receive on a daily basis is heavy, it's many. How do I process the data and make my analysis is very important for every individual, whether how you call an investigative background you come from and that you do is quite important, okay, for understand. Institutions then they support we with information. But I don't mean say we just they grab the information and analyze them and throw them out there. No, we analyze them and put review into them on the basis of waiting we believe. Institutions and organizations, they do these ones for us, okay? We also done that go don't filter the information the way we get. We can do something where we call listen to the information we also they on the public domain. When I don't listen to them information and they na the public domain, I try not to be lazy, which are the advocate fambule for do. Not to because I talk. Obviously, I don't believe it just because I talk, people then grab them just like that. And if you not grab them just like that, whether or not the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone speaks, whether or not the leader of the opposition speaks, whether or not the leader of the opposition in parliament speaks, or any dignitary or VIP speaks, don't just get wooed away with that. Don't just get carried away with that. Make sure say you do your due diligence by finding out what are they saying. Are they trying for woo me into a certain sort of perspective where they want for that belief? You need to ask yourself these questions. It is not an easy job for you, I can tell you this. Okay? It's really not easy for what we do. And the reason why I say it's not easy, really kind of important. Why? Because when we try for be critical, this is where the problem comes. There's nothing wrong with being critical. But we're critical of certain sides. You get people who are emotionally attached to sides. I'm not devoid of the same thing. It's how I control my emotion. Some people they take them personal. So I don't agree with what you agree with. So therefore you become very, very critical and very, very extreme. And this is uncalled for. Let's be honest about this. Very, very uncalled for. Very, very uncalled for. How you process waiting you not agree with. The emotional attachment where you get around, because after all, we all are human beings, and therefore we get some emotional attachment rather to things. Sorry, I they get tongue tied because I they try for fast track this thing for end and bang on time, which I believe say we get about 4 or 5 minutes kind of you get people that were sympathetic to the APC cause. You get people that were sympathetic to the PAUPA cause or SLPP cause or the Tolombo cause, whichever way you want them. And once you speak against them, people in there, you get people that will take them personal. I'm not saying the way our people approach them is correct because you take them personal. No, I don't agree because I'm doing hair splitting analysis based on the data we did before me. The purpose of my show, Fambulem, now for encourage discussion and dialogue. I repeat, the purpose of this particular show, not the show as an individual show or by itself, but on the then and now platform, now for encourage a dialogue, a discussion, and a debate. That's what the show is about. So you don't have to take my view for it. I don't have to take your view for it. We create the platform in the middle and we have the conversation there. We don't have to become enemies because of that, because I hold a different view other than yours. This is what makes the debate academic. This is what establishes your credential as a critique, as an academic, as somebody who is crucial, an analysis, I'm in an analyst, I go call him, and etc., etc. But once you resort into other means of having the conversation, like threats and smears and what have you, which doesn't really work because, when it works, it only works against you. That is what the problem is, not against me. I make my case on a daily basis. And as you can see, there are scores and scores, dozens of dozens that it resonates with. We get for learn how to absorb the information. When the data we involve come, I dey check them, I process them. It depends on who that send them to me. Then maybe the security of how I approach them will be less. But all the same, regardless of whoever it comes from, because once or twice I've got burnt. What do I mean by got burnt? I get the sources of information, especially during the earlier period. They get information from all ends, opposition, government. This is just a fact because what we do, we right now the center. You get people that will believe in you, in what you're saying. So they send you information. But within that mist, you get people that in wool sheep clothing who has no good intention for you, but forget you burn and make you for appear in that sense, say you're not credible. And this is the battle that is on, that you're not credible. But that battle, I mean, like once or twice, I take and say, but this person will send me the information. I'm a crucial person, so I not double check them. I put the information out there, and the information was wrong. And when we go deep into RAM, it turned out for say it been deliberate that this person do only for hurt me platform, and make me for appear not credible. It happened 2 times, if not 3 times, but this has been a while ago, and I've learned my lessons from there. They say fool you once, as a fool. Fool you twice, you're not a proper idiot. Before I say 3 times, then you not even matter, you not even material. So I've learned my lessons. So I absorb the information there, and before I put my opinion into them, I don't process them. So that's why when you aggregate the left and the right opinion from here and there, then it does make some degree of sense. Except for believer, I mean you don't have to. And not ever implies that I've been 100% correct in my analysis. My analysis so far has been great because my analysis has been an informed analysis. Informed. I take my time. I spend 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Not as a student where they look for material. Because in my student days, that's what I did. But with waiting I dey do so now, that me workmate them, I been get some small position at my workplace. We give me that leeway for spend time for look up materials them. And I get lost because I love reading and absorbing information. I can sit down for 3, 4 hours at work. Multitasking though, it's not like I forget of moving around or look for snack or something. I'm just absorbed. You can see the changes now because now I'm no longer into that for sit down 3, 4, 5 hours because even maybe now I develop eye problem or whatever, just for sit down and look at this artificial light. But that was then when we talk about now. So I've never been 100% correct in my analysis or what I try for say to people. Had I ever been, trust me, ba, I'm not going to ever continue for do what I do so. Because that means this guy is super sensible, a correct 100% of the time. Imagine in the media age. So I'm not claiming to have been. I am not. I've never been. It's a learning curve for me. Every time I indulge in these practices, in this act, I learn a lot. And for this, I'm grateful. So, Fambulem, let me continue for share the then and now media empire platform, notices, conversations, and broadcast. We are never really far from the truth. And what I do know is like waiting with the say, it's not really far away from reality because it comes from the depth of the heart. That's where we speak from. We've got no dog in the fight, I always tell people. People who come against us is because we speak against those who they support. They don't support system. Not a system that they support. They're not supporting institutions. They're not supporting the development of the public space for us to have a conversation devoid of intimidation, threats, and you name it. But they're supporting strongmen. They're supporting selfish individuals who, for their own end games, have decided to hijack the country into their own domain and direct an entire country. Of course, when you equivocate that name with other country, then we country far smaller. But looking at ourselves alone, 8 million of us, for let one person or a group of individuals and come and hijack them, that's unacceptable. And this is what we stand against. And in this fight, we have many in our midst who supports the fight. But for this platform, and just generally speaking, that truth will prevail over evil, that good will conquer evil. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a Then and Now Media Empire production. I have been your host and presenter, Prince Emil Kroma. Not forget for no say, Chernobyl will be on the program. I'm talking about Africanist Press Chernobyl, a man very incredible, very phenomenal, whose work is beyond us. It's gone, it's written, it's made, it's historical, it's forever. Can take that away from him. So if not that you be the mean, you need for begin a different fight. He will be on the platform on Saturday. He will be followed up on Sunday by another voice of reasoning, tough, to the point, precise and concise, Mr. Alhaji Mohammed Warisi. All of this is a fight for a nation which is being sucked into some miasma of corruption, the delusion of we leadership that they want to suck us into for belief say the direction that they are carrying us is right. It's not just going to happen because gradually tons and tons of Sierra Leoneans them are realizing that this is not the right direction that we're going. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also proud, like I've announced from the beginning of the show or at the middle of the show, that the stated objective of this platform is to bring news, analysis, commentary, and views, perspectives of some kind to the Sierra Leonean public. In so doing, we did promise that we will employ the services of Sierra Leoneans from professional walks of life who has got the country at heart, not from a selfish perspective. We want something very wholesome, which represents country. And in this regard, what we have done is we've secured the services of a lawyer. We go to appear on the platform once every week at a designated date, time and day, for tell Sierra Leoneans them something about legal matters. And that will be pertaining to our community, not just talk legal matters. So in other words, we understand what our community is plagued with, what our problem in our community. And it's no secret. It's immigration. It's one about issues around paper. How legitimate you are in this country. How legitimate you are. And this is serious. It's not a joke when you not get paper. Some of us will not have gone through that, so we don't understand that. But it's not light. It's not easy. School exclusion is well documented within the UK government on school exclusion, the statistics, especially between Scotland and the United Kingdom, the mainland United Kingdom, in terms of school expulsion as per race. We're not playing the race card here. We're just saying statistically, waiting in at the record, how many black people in them have been expelled from school. We're not saying that it's intentional on the part of the authorities, because the authorities have to take action if you need to conform with the rules. But in Scotland, as opposed to England, even though the numbers, they're not proportional, if you understand what I mean. The distance between colored people in Scotland and colored people within England, especially in London, is a far cry. But the expulsion rate is what raises eyebrows. So is it that people, different, are just being excluded? They don't know what to say. These are some of the reasons why they bring an in-house legal team, at least for advice, when and if necessary, waiting for due. Questions for ask. Nothing about aggression, just questions for ask. Because sometimes if you don't know how to go about things, you become the victim of these things themselves. Other than that, everything should be fine. Another problem is one of, did I speak about immigration earlier on? And then you get knife crime in our community. How do we try for tamper this down? What is the education mode we need for provide for we picking them, we relative them, we fumble them, the distraught family them. So immigration, school expulsion, and finally housing. There are many of the people that when they go through a housing problem. Many of them are going through a housing problem. And sometimes the way you write for challenge some decisions made against you, if you not use the right jargons or the letter is not properly, constructed, of course you are overlooked because you haven't addressed the issues we go make the people for respond. So this is where you need legal people of the legal mind, we go help. So in this regard, I want to say we are bringing a legal team at the host for help for advice with people. This is a great, great thing in we community. And it doesn't stop there. General health problems. You get heart palpitation. What is the cause? What are you supposed to do if that's happening? Let's remember, say Google also there that you can quickly Google these things. But sometimes when you're talking about it from health professionals, because the sisters then what they bring are from the health services of the great NHS services of the United Kingdom. These are the people that are coming that are working in this institution, the great NHS. for kind advice on the services they have. So long, not forget for tuning. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've said this much. And every beginning has an end. Everything that lives will expire. Some have gone before us, others are going, but surely enough, because we've got life in us, because we breathe, we will surely pass. For behold, everything that breathes will pass. This has been a Then and Now TNN TV media production. I've been a host and presenter, Prince Emil Kroma. Don't forget, until you want to hear from we again, which is not very far away, it's just a stone throw, it's just a page turn, it's just a tick away. I am Prince Emil Kroma from the TNN. Thank you so much for watching. So good night, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until we catch up again. That's it. Thank you so much.